Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
We got people in the chats, and guess what?
Chat people.
Don't adjust your sets. It's somebody's face isn't fuzzy. That's right. Culture Casino actually managed to make it here to a show, kids.
Not only that,
and Mexican Iron Man's not here.
not only was I on time, I was early and the first one here.
And
There
he
you go.
came.
And he had clothes on.
Man, I am wearing
And
clothes.
he
This
had
is my
clothes
Tom
on.
shirt. I got my Tom shirt.
No, I can't add to the conspiracy that he's avoiding Mike, because I believe he did say that he was going to be here tonight before Mike said he was not going to be here. So I do have to admit that much. But other than that, we're semi glad to have you here, Culture. We're not sure yet, but we're glad to have you back anyway.
Tom's got a semi.
I'm glad to be here in support of your semi.
I'm doing a lot of hedging.
Clearly.
And also joining us tonight, that 70s rock fan with that sultry accent over there. How you doing?
Splendid. I'm doing very well, sir. Very well. Enjoying not being at work, but then I'm packing now. Things are starting to get taken down off the walls behind me. Packing to move.
Oh,
so
I just noticed that now that you said it. I didn't even notice until you said it.
things are disappearing behind me and into boxes once
I
again. So, which things will I break this time or lose this time?
Oh, don't break things.
Hopefully not. No, everything will be fine. But the good thing is, at the other end, when I do move at the end of the month, nice big basement where everything can go on display.
Oh,
So
nice.
Excellent.
That will be much better. Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
your production facility then.
Yeah, I'll have a studio
You will
area
have
and
a
everything.
man cave.
Yeah.
Big man cave and the studio part of it. Yes, so that'll be
Yeah.
very nice indeed.
Awesome sauce. And speaking of awesome sauce, I'm sure that there's at least 32 flavors of Nick Weiser in that sauce there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a spicy sauce.
It is very
I
spicy.
give
How
the
you doing, my
spice.
friend?
I give the hickory. I'm doing good, man. Happy to be here. Nice to have Culture Casino with us as well. Hail to the chat. Hail to the mods. Thank you all for being here. And of course, Clawby and 70 as well. Tom, thank you for having me. We got some interesting topics to talk about tonight. I'm looking forward to what we have on deck.
Ooh.
Me too, but I'm also looking forward to later on tonight. On your channel.
Yeah. Toxic Tuesday, Dirty Harry.
Now, in
That's
all
right.
this excitement, I clean forgot what it is, Nick. All this
But you got to ask yourself, do you feel lucky? Well,
do you?
do you?
Dude, I love that scene so much.
Hey,
Yeah,
wait a
it's
minute.
gonna be huge tonight.
You gotta
Seriously.
know,
Yeah,
man.
It's gonna be
To
huge.
know.
To know.
Dude, that I actually thought he was actually gonna do it the first time I saw it like 800 moons. I'm like, oh crap, he's gonna kill the shit out of him. Nope.
So yeah, we're gonna talk some Dirty Harry tonight on Toxic Tuesday, and that starts at what time? 9:30 Central
9 p.m.
or 9 p.m.
Central.
Central? Yeah.
See,
I keep trying to make you start a half hour late. See,
I misheard you. I thought you said Debbie Harry. I don't know why.
Debbie Harry.
I have a heart of glass, and it's gonna break now, Culture, because of you.
Yeah.
I got my nice blondie t-shirt on today. So.
You do too. I didn't even notice that till he said it as well. What is this shit, Brian? Like, you got shit off your walls. You're wearing Blondie on your shirt.
Yeah, just to show I'm not all metal. You know,
Well, and it's like
got other
you guys
stuff.
are like just throwing the jokes out there, and I'm like, oh, look at that. That's cute. That's cool. You know, like,
Culture's a very observant guy.
Don't tell anybody.
yeah. And last but not least, the man stirring some shit up on Twitter with Neil Gaiman and Whale Simone, Mr. Clobberin' Times. How you doing?
Hey, man, it was totally unintentional. Good to see you, buddy. Great to be here with such extraordinary gentlemen as Culture Casino, that 70s rock fan, the great Nick Weiser, and your great self. Thank you so much. Hello, chat.
You know what? You may not have meant to stir some shit, but that's the best type of shit stirring there is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like when you
I
all of a
was
sudden you
shocked.
realize, oh, what did I do?
It didn't seem that all that. Considering I don't have that many, not like a national name or anything, I just didn't think anyone would get a hold of it. And Wow, man,
Yeah.
that's weird. I didn't think it was a big deal.
No, I hear you, bro. It's like it's funky, and I mean I've had the whole thing where I'll give a hot take and I'll get a bunch of threats and other bullshit. That's one thing, but I mean the closest I can come to that I guess I could compare to this is like the few times where I would find things for Blu-rays and stuff, and I know that's kind of boring, but it's like whatever. And then we get some people who would argue with us and stuff like that. But you know the proof is in the pudding there. This, unfortunately, or fortunately, or however you want to look at it, has spurred a bit of a debate. So. We're going to get into that in a little bit. I'm going to ask you all about that. But we've got some other news to get to. But first, I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Because we've got Alex, Turo, Brett Cohen. Sorry, not Brian. We've got Michael Carney. We've got Mad Vibe here. I see D-Bud is here. We've got Steven, a.k.a. Deleted Scenes here. Davina Duckworth is here. You might as well just change your name to that by now, Steven. You know that, right? We got Duck Nation here. We got Phoenix Knight here. Welcome everybody to the show. We're so glad to have you here. I see so many of the regulars filing in here. Please share out that link. Hit the like button. Let the algorithm know that you're here and you like the show. We see Shum and E. Clay Thomason and Joey, some more regulars and also members. Ezilla Hamdinger is here. That is right. We got War Monkey. We have Dr. Dragon. He's not just a dragon, he's a doctor. And this is another person that I believe I helped their moniker, if I'm not mistaken. I do stuff like that.
You have
I see
a way
Keith
with
Howard
names.
and Casperius is here. Welcome everybody to the program. So yeah, a little bit of news to kick things off.
Oh yeah.
Culture. I'm gonna turn to you. Has you gotten a little bit of energy back since we first?
Oh
okay.
yeah. We have news. I mean news. We have news. It's good news, I think, for me.
We hope, but it seems like it, at least on the surface anyway. So why don't you tell us what happened on Twitter today?
All right.
Besides lollies.
Oh, yeah, that was so weird. So what happened today on Twitter is our friendly neighborhood billionaire decided to move forward with his Twitter purchase, which means, and this is updated information, he may own this thing as soon as Friday. In fact, I think that's the plan. So
I plan on taking control on Friday.
Yeah, and Prague Agrawal actually finally realized something. He's about to be jobless. And as Andre said today on the Tuesday tirade, which you were a part of today, Tom, I believe that this company could be run by 20 people or less. And I think it became incredibly overbloated. The infrastructure is completely in place. And he has gone on further to say that this is going to be part of a broader scheme for him, the Everything app. X is what he's calling it. So we'll see. I like his visionary takes on things, but he's going to shell out $44 billion for this. If this deal is done, could be good. Could be good. I also believe the following, and follow along with me, that after he closes this deal on Friday, let's say, by Saturday, he's going to be going deep spelunking on the bots.
Sure hope so.
I hope he dips his nuts in their face.
I'm just saying.
The Twitter teabag.
But isn't he doing like his best? Do you remember that film about modeling, the male models?
Magic Mike or the other, or not Magic Mike. That's
Zoolander?
Zoolander.
Yeah. That's the one I was trying to think. Yeah.
He's doing his best Zoolander
It's
here.
a blue steel he's got.
It's a
going
blue
there.
steel.
Blue steel.
You know, and he could just shut it off. That's a fun suggestion. But what I really believe is that he'll
That
do
would
what
be
he-
kind of funny. That'd be total like a Snake Plissken move.
Yeah.
Right.
Block this, and now I'm just going to turn it off.
It could block everyone
us back to the
except the
Stone
bots. Just leave the bots on it and nobody else, and see what
There
happens.
you-
Bot wars.
I think
What
this is
happens when the
fascinating.
revolution takes shape and it starts on Twitter? The
Well,
bots
see, and
start to take over Twitter, then they take over the internet, and then they take us over, and we're done.
I just feel like there's a lot of room there. But the stock did jump 22% today after it was allowed to be traded again. So, because they had to shut it down when the news came out because it just went. So, but it finished up considerably for the day. I wish I had $44 billion rolling around in my couch cushions, but this dude's going to go forward. And if he ends the bots and he does everything he said he was going to do, I feel like we're in a great shape. Oh, yeah, they are
It'll be a
definitely
big
going.
couch.
Even if you just applied their own rules evenly, that would be something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, here's actual audio from Twitter headquarters.
That should be followed by a thunk.
Oh, I got that too. Hang on. Keep going.
Yeah, but I love the unleash a flood of right-wing misinformation and harassment.
Even has a drum roll in there. Boink.
Yeah, I mean, they cannot avoid their narrative even now. They've got to keep putting their narrative into this. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you think they're gonna come after him the way they've gone after, we'll just say, certain politicians that are not of their liking? They're gonna go after him every way. They're gonna nitpick every little thing. They're gonna say, look at the way he had that one step and he walked a little weird. They're gonna say, hey, there's something wrong with his bow tie today. Is he okay? They're gonna say maybe he has mental health decline because of it. They're gonna come up with all the dumbest shit in the playbook yet. And people think that what we got for the past 6-7 years was bad. Just you wait. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do all that to him and then some.
I do think that a white bow tie on a white shirt was a bad choice. But that's just, doesn't say anything about his mental state.
So you're saying he's the next Trump, basically.
But certain people will gaslight you into thinking that somehow that has something to do with supremacy or mental health, because as long as they say it, that's all that matters.
But they won't be able to say it on Twitter.
Yeah. I want to thank Gonzalo Bergali. I want to thank Gonzalo Bergali for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much for that, buddy.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Gift
that.
giver, man.
So culture. So what else do you have to say about this acquisition?
What I find this very interesting because he's been very concerned about bots, right? So isn't it a little meta that he shows off some bots like in the last few days and then he buys the platform full of bots? I mean, this dude just plays on another level.
Now they're going to be his bots now.
That's right. They're my bots.
His bots now.
Yeah. I mean, and the memes are flowing like now. I just, the one of the NBC nut bar, quote unquote journalists out there is going, well, this means that this could affect the midterms.
Yeah, I just saw your thing about that.
Dude.
Well, and if we can believe him, and this is the thing, he's a billionaire, so I only trust him as far as I can throw him, which I'm a fat kid, so ain't very goddamn far. And in this case, he has said he's going to even the playing field, meaning that both parties will be equally upset.
Yeah.
And that's what Andre was talking about earlier, and I think that as long as he sticks with that, then fine. Like, that's the thing. I don't care, but I'm just as worried as can be when it comes to him using this platform for his own means too. I mean, we can't forget that he is a billionaire, and look at the history of when anybody who's got that much power and sway over something that is kind of that powerful, and that's one of the reasons why they're all reeing on the other side, is because they're losing that power and that influence,
narrative control, which they actually said. They actually use that language. We're losing narrative control. No shit.
Well, no one should have that type of control. A story should just be a story. An opinion should be an opinion. And that should be that. Not, well, we need to decide what people can think. That's a fucking problem and a half. So I think there needs to be no shadow banning. Please don't let there be this algorithmic control. Like that, seriously, because that designs it for what can and can't be seen. And if you want to actually say what hate speech actually is and what it isn't, that would be great, because then we can actually know what is bad or is fine on the playing field to say. Like we definitely we need this stuff defined, which I already know. I can imagine Android and Google are not going to be happy with, because them, they love to have their open-ended terms and conditions, because they try to make sure every company plays exactly by their rules when it comes to the app. So I would not put it past Google and Apple to say, hey, we're going to just remove the Twitter app from the phone. So me, I don't even use it anyways. I use a regular desktop app, so I don't care. But I just know people like their apps, and I just say, hey, don't just rely on them.
Yeah, I'm not expecting or indeed demanding that you be any kind of reverse culture warrior or swing things entirely the other way. I just want evenness. I want the rules to be applied evenly. And if there are going to be rules about what you can say and how you can say it, it should be applied evenly, and not shutting down people that are against one or for one narrative in favor of another. Let's just have it even and then see how the chips fall in the public square.
Agreed.
Yeah.
However, only time it'd be funny on Friday morning if you go into Twitter and there's just that little symbol of the guy with a shovel and it says under construction.
Well, okay, so I look at it this way, because we have what's going on now with this purchase, but you're watching people in real time lose thousands of followers because I believe they're cleaning out the bots.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to make their previous statements about the bots that they've made publicly, financial statements, in support of their, quarterly, reports. Those are still a matter of record. It doesn't change the fact that if they're deleting bots in mass or whatever, it's not going to change any of that. You know what I mean? So those still will have been fraud, which is, I guess, the point I was getting to earlier. Him completing the purchase on Friday, he could immediately start to go after the bots, assess exactly how many there are, and then get to the point where he could actually sue them for fraud. Interesting.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering earlier too when I was on your show. I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, him getting out ahead of that doesn't make any sense unless he just wants to save himself some money in the end and basically go for the heart, right? Instead of going the long way around and hiring somebody else to do it, basically by allowing the court thing to play out.
Yeah.
And but it's funny that, and that's the other reason why I think he just took him at the $54.20 a share, right? Because otherwise, damn well they would have been desperate enough to take a much lower price,
Right?
Because I don't think they wanted any of this shit getting out in public.
Yeah.
And that's why the whole thing never made sense to begin with for me. But I believe Elon's right. I know there's bots all over Twitter. We all know. Right. I mean, come on. Anybody who's been on the internet for more than 10 minutes knows that half of the people, if not most of the things that you think you're interacting with are fucking robots and fake. I mean, it's just an AI algorithm or whatever.
Yeah. And I think that everybody's timelines will get back to where they were 6 years ago, where you actually get tweets from people that you follow instead of waiting 2 or 3 days to get the tweets that they put out 2 to 3 days before that are no longer relevant.
Well, and those who don't want to culture, you could just go to the very top on your desktop.
Oh no, I've done that. I still didn't.
And you just do the go back home. You'll see top tweets first thing. I adjusted for that because
me too.
I mean it's not perfect, but it works a lot better than having Twitter decide what comes up on your feed first.
Yeah, well.
And it'd be nice. It's probably not going to happen, but it'd be nice if it just became a platform that was a little less politically oriented. It was a fantastic platform when it started to find out what your favorite band was doing, what was happening in movies, comics, sports, you name it. Great way of finding that stuff out. And then it became seen as a battleground for politics.
But see, the news ignited that part of it. The news made that the thing to just say, "Hey, it's where all these people can go have their, debating on here." They made Twitter the political public square to basically have a clash of ideas.
Originally it was a theater of ideas, right? But if left
Yes.
alone, most of these social media platforms, and this is an actual studied phenomena, are essentially very libertarian and somewhat conservative for the most part. That's because that's usually the people who get them going. I mean, the revelations of Jack Dorsey's communications with Elon Musk prior to his purchase offer for Twitter was that Jack knew he made a mistake when he took the company public. It screwed everything up, and then he ended up with activists on his board, which he, again, another element of those released messages, and that's a bad thing. And this is what, Joey's right. This is taking this company private is ESG's anything that's an ESG based thing. That's their worst nightmare. He owns it. He can do what he wants with it. And remember, we've been hearing that argument for a long damn time. It's a private company. They can do what they want.
Yeah, and it would be refreshing if we could get away from where we are now, where Clobby experienced today, just fairly innocuous statement about something, and people are attacking him for it. People he's never heard of or no idea who they are. The pylon, which happens on Twitter, is
Yes.
it'd be nice if we could see that being reduced somewhat. So you can just say, you know what, I don't think that art's very good in that comic, and not suddenly have it turned into you're an
That's
istaphobe.
had to require 70s for people to not be led with emotional outrage. That's not a social media thing. I mean, obviously social media can maybe help adjust that, but you gotta look at all the outlets involved with this stuff, and that's a lot of major institutions, whether it's Google, Amazon, even like the sports leagues, they basically thrive off keeping this type of status quo happening, where people get really outraged by rage bait, and they do it because there's money to be made, and they see that the money they're making, people keep taking the bait per se, so they want to keep that status quo going. That's why they don't want to let this go, because they see what it does, and the fact that it also happens to divide people simultaneously at the same time is just the icing on the cake for them. The last thing they want is for people actually to talk. They don't want that. I would love to talk with more people on different sides, whether it's on the right, left, center, or even apolitical, just to see, okay, where is this person come from? But that's exactly what they don't want, because by doing that, there's a possibility someone could maybe have their mind changed even 1%, and that 1% they don't like. They want absolute mass formation of the same ideology.
Yeah, and there's one more thing I would wish of Elon that he would take care of, and I don't want to get too deep into this subject, but I'd like to see him remove from the platform those who have an agenda against children and have been using that platform in order to advance that, and I would like to see some of them actually handed over to the proper authorities, because that stuff's going on there.
You're right, and Twitter just was exposed for that kind of stuff, right? And alongside corporate ads for Coca-Cola and Disney and these, the megacorps, right? They don't want to be openly, in the same company as that to people they're marketing to.
Yeah.
So, that exposure certainly helped. I mean, there were a lot of things that probably provoked this, and I think, and I suggested on the show earlier today with Tom and Andre, that he went full dog here because of the backlash he got for his thoughts around, making peace between, ukulele and bear, because that's absolutely, beyond the pale.
Peace is a terrible concept, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we should all hate peace. It's ridiculous, but that's it's a prime example of the insanity of the modern age, of course. But, he's probably going to get his revenge, I would think.
Yeah, and again, I mean, for the most part, unless you're foul or just obviously driven by whatever agenda it is. I mean, look, I may not like what people post, but I can ignore it. I follow some people that are obviously the most offensive, terrible, agenda-driven humans on the planet, hell-bent on destroying freedom in every single way that they can possibly make happen. And I do it because
One Direction.
I want to know what they're thinking. I want to be informed about just how wrong these people are.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
we
blame
shall
you.
see. We shall see.
I hear you.
It's certainly an interesting development, if nothing else. Spice things up a bit.
Yeah.
We've
Know your-
needed
know
a
your
new
enemy.
spice
Know
for
your
a
enemy.
while. We've been using the same seasoning for so many years now. We're all just sick of it, and it's time to swap out the cabinet and get some new flavors up in here.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, let's see what the weekend brings.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to it. I know I sound optimistic. I probably shouldn't be. It's fine.
Well, just be cautiously optimistic. Obviously, I can
Yeah.
tell you're not like
Yeah.
all up in arms, like, oh yes, this is it. Like it's like that.
Well,
Remember that South Park episode with Randy Marsh celebrating Barack Obama's first look? She's like, change. And all of a sudden,
And
the next person,
honestly-
oh, everything's still the same.
I think a lot of what I was saying earlier is probably rubbing off on Culture because he was really excited about this earlier. But
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where you always got to remember there's no such thing as a free gift,
No.
right?
No.
Never ever assume that anything is, the old saying is too good to be true. Like I said, sure, it could be great for now. It might be great for the elections coming up here. But at some point, Elon's wanted this for a reason to begin with.
Yeah, he needs some kind of return out of it, whether that's financial or otherwise. It's,
And
And I'm
fully
sure it
agree.
has somewhat
Just
to do
fine.
with what you were saying. Go ahead, Culture, earlier. Go ahead
no,
and
go ahead.
talk about what you wanted. He was trying to speak out on certain things going on in other countries, let's say right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I like I said, I mean, his return here, he outlined it. He says I'm not, he's like, he outlined it originally saying, I'm not sure that it could be profitable, but we can try to make it profitable. That's actually the second most important thing. He said free speech is imperative, and I'm paraphrasing wildly, but that's basically what he said. And I agree with him, lock, stock, and two smoking barrels.
Well, the path to profitability would probably include people feeling that they can enjoy using the platform and they're getting something useful out of it, which we don't always get today.
He always, like you said, I mean, he has a tendency to overpromise things, but he, for, what he's accomplished, man, I'm going to give him a lot of room. I'm going to give him a lot of road to run, and right now I feel like if this dude had more money, maybe he'd go back and try to acquire PayPal since he was part of starting that and fix it. Cause I mean, all of this stuff's being corrupted by this garbage. And I mean, and it's
Don't
done.
even get me started on fucking PayPal. But anyway,
It's not even. It's not even done in the shade anymore. It's done in full bright sunlight every single day. And it is what it is.
Well, let's see what the chat has to say about this, since it is social media after all.
Yeah.
Zontar sending in 5 Canadian bucks. It says Twitter gets the outcome it wanted from the trial that Musk was fighting.
Yeah.
Will be hilarious seeing how he spins this, given he did not want to buy it. Yeah, that part kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit, but at the same time, I think he might be able to still get out of paying this much money for this. I have a feeling, but I don't know, Culture, if you have a theory on how that could be, but I know you kind of touched on it earlier.
Yeah,
exposing the fraud and all that business.
I mean, and like honestly, yeah. I mean, that's kind of like it's like taking your medicine and then getting better. And I would liken it to that, because if he takes the medicine and then he sorts out the bots and can reflect that it was greater than 5% by a mile, he's got cause to go after them for fraud. And I've been corrected. Musk never had a hand in founding PayPal. I don't know why I was led to believe that.
I thought you told me that.
I did. But I'm
So
looking
you
at
lied
people
to
in the
me,
chat
motherfucker.
correcting me, and that's fine.
You liar.
Yeah.
No, that happens from time to time. Sometimes you mix them.
Yeah.
Maybe he had something else to do with something else. That was
Well,
similar.
I mean, obviously Peter Thiel, was involved in that. Maybe I was
You sure it wasn't Cash App?
like I said, maybe I was confusing, the two. So for whatever
We
reason,
got Dearest here who sends in a thumbs up and a hamburger. Want a hamburger?
Baga.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. What movie is that from? It is Pee Wee Herman, but it's not
It's
a
a
Pee Wee
Pee Wee.
Herman movie.
I don't know. You got me.
Say you're sorry to the men. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I stole the money.
It was X that he found it. Okay.
I'm not sorry.
Okay.
Mystery
Yes,
Men.
Cheech and Chong. Nice dreams.
Cheech and Chong.
Yes, it was in Cheech and Chong. The Waltman says, from what Quartering is stating, the Twitter deal could be done between the 7th and the 10th. Yeah, we're hearing as soon as Friday he could actually take control, right, Colt?
Wow.
Yeah. There have been reports, including from CNBC, that he could take control as early as Friday. Yep.
Yepers. So
I
there you go.
suspect he will. I mean, there's nothing to stop him.
Right. Mecca J says, oh, go ahead.
No, please. These are super chats. Go.
No, you're going to finish your thought and then I'll continue on. Or not.
Dude, seriously, do the supers, man.
Mecca J says, to all those who say they're leaving Twitter, Elon buys it. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. It'll be all the same people who moved to Canada after Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
You know,
Yeah.
Where are
here's
they
the
going to go
thing.
anyway? Where are they going to go?
They're going to hate watch Twitter.
I'm going to slightly disagree with Mecca J. No disrespect, but please let the door hit your ass on the way out. Please. And don't come back.
Yeah, they can't go anywhere else because they're the ones that said that we don't need alternative social media. Twitter should be the one shining city on the
Yeah,
hill,
that should
and
be-
stop.
Twitter should
Let's
be the
stomp
beacon.
on every other one that tries to get up.
Which it goes to show you, like, they always those type of groups, they always talk about there needs to be like big change in the world, but they don't want to actually change anything. They just talk about it. They want to keep everything the same because that is what helps maintain the status quo. They don't want anything to change because in order to, well, actually make change, well, then it kind of crushes the status quo of being angry and miserable at everything. And then there's no point to being angry and miserable.
Aren't they already on Tumblr? Garvin Drills
Probably
says,
Reddit.
We're still alive.
and TikToks and all that.
They're all on
business.
Reddit. Yeah, Reddit.
They're all on
That's pretty
Reddit.
bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Kareen is here, and oh, go ahead. I thought you were done. Sorry. The AH's baby father, something definitely wrong with him. I don't know if he really is or not, but yeah.
She threw him on. I think Kareen's referring to AH throwing him under the bus. I think yesterday.
Did she? What'd she say?
Let me pull it up. Okay,
This is news to me, actually.
She probably
so,
literally threw him under the bus.
well, that's the thing. You got to watch out for her.
I would be careful if you're standing in front of a bus.
And on that note, I don't know if anybody saw earlier when we were on Culture's channel, we had that breaking news about Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. That looks like it's the makings of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard Part 2. I don't know if you guys know about all that, but yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into it. There's some accusations being made on Brad. They seem very sus. There's very little evidence to support them at this time, let's say. In fact, the FBI did their own investigation and did not seek out any charges.
Never
So take
mind
that as you
evidence, Tom. You just need feelings. You don't need evidence.
I know. Well, and she was so upset by they're not charging him with anything or whatever, or not finding anything that she filed a complaint against the fucking FBI even, I guess.
Maybe the pair of them are just upset at all the publicity that JD and AH have been getting, and they want some of that too. They're upset at all this free publicity.
Well, there's some speculation I could make around the whole shebang, but I'm not going to get too into it right now because this is not really the time nor place, because we like to have fun and just talk about the basic stuff here. So let's get back into super chats though, while in the meantime, while Culture's looking for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to do Google Foo, but
yeah, no worries.
Yeah, no, and somebody actually in the chat mentioned that Tug did a video on it today.
Oh, did he? Oh, if that's the case, then we'll have to check that out anyway.
Yeah.
Sheba Dog from Nicholas Horton, who raises and lowers his index finger to get noticed. Oh, I thought he was flipping us off.
Well, that gets you noticed.
That'll get you noticed. But we'll come back to that, Kareen, if we can find that. But Doug wants to know what we feel about Kanye's I'm assuming that means White Lives Matter shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
t-shirts.
didn't see this, but I heard some
Yeah, I've seen it.
rumblings about it.
Mm.
He should have went with All Lives Matter, not what
Should
the
have.
fuck is he
Yes.
doing?
I think he was trying to be contrary to the elements.
But
Yeah.
interestingly enough, that did cause a major trend of that phrase on
I figured.
Twitter. Yeah.
Because I seen something about it yesterday, but Mondays are real busy for me. So unless somebody sends me something, usually it's
Yeah.
Hello to Rhino. And yeah, I was not going to say this out loud, Duck Nation, and I'm not going to say it out loud now, but there is that aspect of it as well. So yeah, but moving on here, did you find that yet, Culture, or no?
I'm running. I'm coming up empty. I mean, apparently there were some articles going back a ways.
Okay.
Like I said, I've heard this now from multiple sources, but for whatever reason, and I blame censorship.
Well, do you
I'm
kind
not
of vaguely
following up
remember
these
what
things.
she said, or?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, he reveals that he is Amber's father. I think. Let me see if
Baby daddy, you mean? Not her
yeah,
father.
I mean the baby's father. Amber Heard's baby's father. Let me, you know what? Let me preview this. I'm not going to do this in public without making sure it's legit. I'll be right back.
All right, no problem. Nicholas Horton says Nintendo has recently tweeted that we'll get a first look at the upcoming animated Super Mario Brothers movie starring Chris Pratt, and it will be revealed in 44 hours. Interesting. So I mean, yeah, well, if that's true, that lines up with Thursday, which would be movie day dropping. So yeah.
Yes.
Is there a big release coming out this weekend?
This week at the cinemas?
Yeah.
Not that I know of. The next big thing, if you even want to consider it a big thing, would be Black Adam, which, if I had to guess, will probably make around somewhere between 60 and 80 million. Like, The Rock is a draw, but he has a limitation on his draw, especially with him being a leading man.
When does
this
that
is
come
not
out?
like a big ensemble cast. It's like October 22nd or something like that. So it's
So that's a little ways off yet. I
Yeah,
don't know,
2
that's
weeks.
weird timing for that. You'd think they'd drop that with like Avatar or something like that.
October
You would
20th, I
think.
think. October 20th.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Selling
Who
tickets
knows?
for it
I mean,
the
Universal's
20th,
releasing it, and they don't have anything coming out that I know of. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, wasn't that one Disney Pixar movie or whatever supposed to be out this weekend, and then it got moved or whatever?
Pixar movie. Was it an original or was it a
Yeah.
remake?
It was called. I don't know, Valiant did a video about it.
Okay. I
So
didn't
Black
even
Adam-
know that. That's like bad timing. Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
not timing, but bad promoting. I was gonna say, because usually I'm at least aware if like a Pixar movie, like everyone knew when Soul came out. Everyone knew when
No, I can't even remember the name of this one. That's how immemorable it is. It was.
Wow,
Never
that's
heard of it.
weird.
I'll figure it out here.
Hey,
Why
There's
don't
somebody
they
in the
commit
chat
to
will.
promoting their
Strange Worlds.
original?
That's it. Yeah, Strange Worlds.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe that was supposed to be out this weekend originally, and they had planned to tag it to that. I don't know.
Who knows?
Unless there's a
I
kids
gotta
movie
look
coming
it
out
up.
this weekend that we don't know about.
No, I don't think so. Doesn't seem to be
So,
much this weekend
well,
at all.
We're living in a year where DreamWorks rocks Pixar with their Minions sequel. I never thought I'd hear the day, but here we are in 2022, and things continue to become more possible.
Honestly, I'm surprised we didn't get a trailer with it with that the Minions sequel.
You would think.
I
Yeah,
thought we
you
were
would
going
think.
to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't. So when is that even supposed to come out?
Strange Worlds or Minions Blu-ray?
No. The Mario Brother movie. That's not till next year anyway, isn't it?
It's next year. Yeah.
Isn't it like
Yeah.
March or April of next year?
Maybe.
I think it's definitely.
2023.
Yeah, it's 23. Yeah, I was right. April 2023. I was right.
Okay, so
23.
yeah, it's about time. So maybe. I'm not gonna say I don't believe it anyway. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So any luck on that, Culture, or
I'm tracking it down. I think it is.
it's not that important.
It's in the Daily Mail. I'm just trying to find the article.
But yeah, I can't disagree with you if it's true, Kareen, is all I was gonna say. So there you go. That's about it on that part. The Night of Snake, sorry, had a question for us. I am curious,
Excellent.
what original-ish idea would you like to see be done in the sci-fi and fantasy genre that also includes costume superheroes and animation that hasn't been done or very least underutilized in what we've seen? Thanks. What original ideas would you like to see done in sci-fi and fantasy? Well, sci-fi and fantasy has covered so much already. I mean, you've already had everything from westerns to sword and sorcery to futuristic to the steampunk to the cyberpunk to other worlds to in fantasy realms you've had all kinds of different characters from wizards to elves and fairies and whatnot. Gosh, what do you guys think? What would be something you have not quite seen taken on in the genre of fantasy and sci-fi that you think could use
Well, I've
the
always,
treatment?
I'm always a fan of space opera, but of course it's very expensive to make really good space opera. So,
That's already
love-
pretty regular in the genre. but
I mean, there is something coming up that I'm interested in, which is the Denis Villeneuve Rendezvous with Rama. I've always wanted to see a movie made of that. So that's not new; it's an old book, but I'm
I'm trying to
forward
think
that.
of something like. I mean, you could say a certain superhero, but we've already had plenty of superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of bringing something absolutely new to the table, right? I do like the question. I can't think of anything right offhand
Yeah, it's tricky.
because it's been covered so well. Like they've covered so many different.
I mean, I can think of properties I'd like to be books that
Yeah.
I'd like to see made, but
Yeah,
I can think
the
of one.
characters. Go ahead.
I would like to see Doc Savage get another crack done well. Not modern dayish. George Powell, Ron Ely, when made kind of some kind of mistakes. That's a pulp character that has not been touched by movies other than that one time in 1975. I know it's a pulp character, but something like that. I think really, I don't know. I think that could be well done, but not in today's climate. I don't know. I'm just pulling one out of there because everyone's had a shot pretty much, but Doc Savage, except for that one. Well, he's even ended up one. I guess it's more than most people have.
I mean,
it took
because
100 years. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
I was going to say it took 100 years to get John Carter to the screen, and it was really
Right.
good. And Disney politics ruined that.
I loved that movie, and I think it's
loved
a
it.
real shame what happened. Yeah,
Yes, it should have been more.
I loved it.
They marketed it poorly. There were intercompany politics that messed it all up bad.
The only thing I can think of that really hasn't been touched yet, probably, and I'm probably even wrong, to be honest with you. I'm sure there's something out there that I'm not thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
But Bible era stories and stuff straight out of the Bible.
Well, we did have Noah with Russell Crowe in it a few years ago. That wasn't
Well,
particularly
that's
good.
total
did a couple of
sci-fi.
those.
Yeah.
That was
No, I don't know. I never saw that, so I don't know. But I mean, that's about all I can think of. You know what I mean? Just kind of like that era, and like just kind of introducing an idea of like maybe let's just say, and I don't want to piss anybody off, and I'm not trying to blaspheme or any because I'm actually a Christian myself. But let's just say, like somebody's going to tell a story that actually Jesus was an alien or something like that, for instance, right? Like we've never seen anything like that.
No, and I'm sort of along those lines. I'm surprised we've never seen an adaptation of Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. Heinlein's.
I'd love that. Yeah,
Could that
I
be
really
done?
love
It
that.
could be done well. It would be tricky, but that could be one. There's a very obscure book called The Jehovah Contract by Victor Coleman that I would like to see a small film made of that one. But yes, some lesser known books maybe. What's that?
I like something on the Phantom. I know he had a movie in
like that movie. I like
1997.
the
Yeah,
Phantom
it
movie.
actually was a pretty good movie. I like it.
Billy Zane film. I like
But
that.
I would like to actually see the Phantom be brought into something. I mean, I don't know if you would count him as a
Prince of
pulpy
Darkness
type of character, but he does have, he's obviously one of the old school characters.
See, I
and
knew
feel
I'd
like
forget.
I love
there's
it.
a lot of hidden gems from the very, 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 very land before time past. I think it's time we unearth those stuff. Obviously, I mean, this conversation I was talking about kind of reminds me of Razor Fist's video on reject modernity, embrace pulp heroism. I mean, and Klobby, you mentioned perfectly with Doc Savage. Yeah.
And
Maybe the
Shadow
way
needs a
going
shot,
forward is to go back.
try another shot at the Shadow because he also got a lousy movie.
Oh, he got shafted. The
Yeah.
Shadow.
Yeah.
And then Joey
That-
points out here, that Prince of Darkness, so that was technically
I
horror.
thought I'd heard of something. Yeah,
I
it
mean-
sounded familiar.
There's been a few horror ones that have definitely got into it. So, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
difficult to think of new ideas, though. I mean, everything's
That's the beauty
kind of been
it.
done in a sense. If it hadn't been, we wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
We can't think of it. So
But we got the Rippaverse that's arriving and dropping. That's a brand
there's
new
a new
idea.
IP. Yeah, new
Yep,
IP.
new IP, which my copy arrives tomorrow, so I will review
There
that
you
soon.
go.
But yeah,
I think it would be interesting to see things from outside of the Anglosphere, the stories we may not know of from Asia or
mhm. Oh, yeah.
Africa, places or the Middle East, places that stories we haven't heard of that could surprise us. That would be
Yeah.
what I'd be interested in seeing.
But yeah, no, I mean, as far as sci-fi goes and fantasy, like they've really covered just about every ground you can think of. Because I mean, movies in and of themselves, and well, actually storytelling for that matter, from the beginning of time, has always been rooted in some sort of fantasy, right? I mean,
Right.
oh, absolutely.
it's kind of part of the game. So
Wow,
it's a very
someone-
great question, Night of Snake. Hopefully we answered
yeah.
it well enough for you.
I bet
Someone
Script
mentioned the
Doctor
Flashman books.
could
Wow,
make an
that would
original
be-
story.
Oh, the Flashmans, yeah, I
Someone
love
mentioned
those.
the Flashman books. Boy, that would be interesting.
George MacDonald Fraser,
Mhm.
yeah, love those books.
Some people are saying like Wheel of Time done right, stuff like that.
There's the thing, some things done right that had a
That's
A
another
misfire.
different question. Yeah.
yeah, get some of the stuff that had a misfire,
Or
but
other
only one
conversation,
shot.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I could think of that could use a revamp or a reboot, but at this point, I'm afraid to have them done.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
the problem. In
You
my
know,
ideal world, yeah, but
Because I'm actually not somebody who's against remakes or reboots. In fact, I'm one of those
I am.
persons that's like, oh, I'm getting another King Kong, sweet. Like
Sanders mentioned a good one, the James Blish Cities in Flight. I think it's James Blish. That one, yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
it's just
that-
been mostly in the last few years the remakes have really sucked. But anyway, sorry, Brad.
Yeah.
No, there's just so much material that's never been properly used or mined that I'd love to see,
Right.
but at this point, the Hollywood seems more interested in remaking and rebooting things that have been done a dozen times before
And done
Yeah.
well.
Old to
and done
incorporate
much
the
better
message.
before.
They want the
yeah.
proof.
They're
Proven
reviving
commodity.
anything that they could throw their message on, because they know if they use their message to lead with, they're not going to draw an audience. So I think, okay, well, this franchise has a established fan base that is right away our first weekend audience, regardless of the number. So they're relying on that to get their message out. So that's why they continue to use these franchises, because they know injecting it with new ideas just will not help. I mean, you can just ask the two guys on that movie Bros that came out last weekend. I mean, Pepperidge Farm remembers how much money they made opening weekend.
Not much.
Not much. Marcos A sends in $4.99, says, "Hail to the chat. It's alarming Disney canceled Armor Wars D+ show, making it a movie instead." I'm not too surprised. They need to inject some money into the program. And we did have an interesting conversation about this on Midnight's Edge in the Morning the other day. I don't remember if you were there, Culture, or not, but I think you were at least there for part of the show. But I don't remember if you were still there when we got to this part of it. But we were discussing how, at least in this case, Chapek has a little bit more control over it, right? I mean, at least that's our observation on the situation, because I'm sure that the Marvel deal is much similar, or very similar to the Lucasfilm deal. From what we heard, was that basically, yeah, they can greenlight shows until they're blue in the face all day long, but if they do a movie, then they got to go through the proper channels, and that's not as easy. So,
Well, I mean, it wasn't actually canceled. Like it says here in the super chat, was made into a film. That actually speaks volumes to the fact
That's
that
what I'm
they want to
saying,
make
yeah.
something of quality. So, and I think that was the point that was made the other day. Is that
that's exactly a good way of putting it. It's going to get a little more quality control this way,
Yeah.
I believe.
yeah, they're not going to burp it out, through some garbage volume, stage for the most part, and you'll end up with you'll end up with something good. I mean, Don Cheadle will be fine. You're gonna have, Ironheart chick in it, which is gonna, bring it down.
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to this, but I mean, I just see the move as a power play on the upper.
It kind of it's I don't know if it's a power play, but it gives it gives it a lot more polish. It like you said, it might be a win. And the reason that the reason this is being done is even more insidious. It's because something else fell through the cracks.
What do you think it was? It was Blade.
Yeah.
Duh. That's what I was about to say. Is that's because they took one look at Blade and said, "What the fuck is this?" And they said, "Well, this needs to be reworked." The director took off because he didn't like because they were changing his vision, and he couldn't work within the confines of Feige's vision probably at the same time. And they needed something to fill this slot. A lot of times, you guys got to remember the moving of these movies has more to do with filling slots than actually it does sometimes with the actual movies themselves or the shows. And this is what I see this as. That means that they're probably the farthest along on this, and they know that it will be done or can be done by that slot. And being it's basically another. Watch them turn around and try to market it like an Iron Man 4. Well, you know what I'm saying?
They could try. It's not. It won't get. Nobody's gonna buy that.
Watch how Wakanda Forever ain't maybe a little testing ground on that.
Yeah, except that's going to be roundly rejected.
Well, I'm not saying it won't, but I'm just saying in a sense, you get where I'm coming from on this. I don't know. I'm curious what Clobby and Nick think on this, being the comic book guys. Clobby, what do you think? Do you think I'm onto something, or do you think I'm just tinfoil hatting this shit?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know this was canceled. I guess I'm just. When did this happen?
Well, it's technically not canceled. They just did this at the same time we found out that Blade was getting delayed, and the director left.
I don't know. Maybe they're panicking a little bit with all the bad press they're getting for garbage like She-Hulk, and maybe they're starting to listen. I don't know about that, but I don't know. Maybe they're starting to worry about some of this stuff, starting to realize that because of garbage like She-Hulk, because of what people are saying about the things we're seeing from Girl Conda Forever and other stuff that people are. I don't know. They're starting to get a little scared, a little cold feet to put Wee Williams in her own show.
I think they're probably less scared of what they're scared of is that they're losing control of that narrative. They still want to do what they're doing, but they're running out of ways to tell us how horrible we are for not liking it. That's what's scaring them.
That'll never stop them.
Well, I'm just saying this too, and before I get Nick his shot at like jumping in here, but I just got to say this too. You can't believe they aren't noticing that the last 5 Marvel movies have failed to even live up to the standards of their mid-level shit was a few years ago compared to the $1 billion they were making per movie here just a couple of years back. And then when Spider-Man No Way Home comes out here recently, I got to imagine there was a phone call or a meeting with Feige, and Chapek said, "What the fuck happened? Why can't we do this?" Because that was a lot of money that they didn't get a lot of, right? Because they had to share that profit with Disney or with Sony. Disney didn't get as much as Sony did out of that deal. In the end of the day, I think they're on the 50-50 deal, but it's still like, I think they're still sharing in the toys and some other things. So Marvel's still pretty much, in a sense, losing out on this. They're not getting it all into their coffers, and all that business. So. Nick, what do you think? Do you think this is a power move? Do you think this is some kind of panic move? What do you think's going on here? Do you think it's a good idea, a bad idea?
I wish it was a panic move, but I think it's more of just a power move. They got, because of all the changes that they're going through in their studio right now, this is just their way of picking up the slack and filling a void. I don't think it's in panic mode at all. I mean, I wish that was the case, but no, this is just them saying, okay, we got to compensate somewhere. Now, in terms of it being a movie, I mean, it's just going to be Armor Wars in name only, but it will maybe look better with more money spent via CG and all that stuff. Because to be fair here, if you have a bunch of armored suits and all and flying involved, it should be made for the movies anyway, because we all saw how amazing the flying looked in WandaVision on that last episode. And we got to, see what would look far, far, far better on the silver screen. Now, Rhodey's story, I mean, they had so much time to do something with it, and now they want us to do with it, which ultimately is not a bad idea. I feel like that's a good character, but I just don't think they got the right people in the game to make that story, that movie, all of it work. But hey, maybe I'm wrong, and Armor Wars will just knock my socks off, and that would be kind of impressive if it did. It would be. Be the first one to admit it.
Interesting. No, I actually I think both of you make some very good points, and I want to let Brian and Culture give their response real quick.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it from a financial perspective. It's going to be probably the same amount to do a 2-hour movie as it is to do a 6-part series, because they haven't spent any less really on these shows than they would spend on these movies. In the end of the day, they're just getting twice the amount of actual content out of them is what they're doing. So I see that as kind of being a wash. But I'm curious, like, because Clobby brought up an interesting point, because Ironheart's getting her own series as well. Now, does that precede or is that after this? Because if it's after this, I could also see this as a move
probably
to.
after.
I was going to say, because she's in Wakanda forever, but then I wonder if this isn't
She's
setting
in
up her
Wakanda
show.
forever, and then Armor Wars, and they're hoping by the time you get 2 movies with Ironheart in it, they'll have the artificial demand that they're just begging for a Ironheart because we teased her in 2 movies, so we have to give her own
Look
show
how
now.
important she
These
was
movies
in those
need
movies.
to exist to justify her reason,
Justify her
to give
existence,
legitimacy, to say, okay, we now need to give her the Ironheart TV show. Now, maybe I'm wrong and somehow it'll come out in between it, but I really don't see that
Well,
happening.
if somebody knows the actual
I'm trying to see it
schedule.
from your end too, Tom. I'm trying to see it from the business perspective of what makes sense. So
Yeah.
I think, the Ironheart show is inevitable, but I think it's at least 1.5 to 2 years before that sees the light of day.
I'm trying to remember when that's supposed to come out. Yeah. But Brian, what's your initial response to all this, I guess, real quick?
To Ironheart? Or
Well, yeah, Ironheart, the show becoming a movie instead. What do you think it implies? And then Culture, go ahead right after that.
Well, the thing is, I think it's been said by you guys already that a lot of these shows really could have been cut down to 2 hours or 1 hour and a half and made a movie of. There's a lot of padding in these Marvel shows. Lots of padding. Lots of filler. So there might be 1 hour and a half to 2 hours of actual material in them. So perhaps they're realizing that for some of them. But, who wants to sit through boring filler? Which is
So actually, looking it up, this movie will actually be after Ironheart's show starts. So,
Really? Wow.
No, that's great.
Interesting.
because this is not it's supposed to come out till 2024.
Well, don't forget the dates could get moved because let's not forget Falcon and Winter Soldier was originally supposed to be the first show that became WandaVision. And don't forget, She-Hulk was supposed to come before Miss Marvel.
That's right.
And Miss Marvel got rotated, so
Right.
they could change the schedule. They don't hesitate doing that for better or for worse. They will do those changes if they need to. So we'll just leave that as a tentative.
So yeah, Culture, your final thoughts on that?
We wrap up Phase 4 with Black Panther in just a few weeks. I think that will underperform. I think a lot of this just has to do with the fact that things are coming off the board and being moved around, as Nick was saying. I think that you're going to see them have to be a little lighter on their feet than they have been in years past, because they are losing the audience. And if they continue to have diminishing returns on these superhero films with $200 million budgets, yikes. And if they add just a little more budget to Armor Wars, I mean, the shooting schedule will be the same, even if it's, the shooting schedule for that TV series versus shooting a movie is probably about the same. So.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a very good
That's what I'm saying.
point.
You compact what a 6-episode or 8-episode show into a 2-hour movie instead. I think it'd be a better move. Yeah.
I just think it's just dumb to take these characters that had very short runs very recently and dump them out there as your frontmen, because they are terrible. And the stories behind them are terrible. I mean, it's you have a lot to pull from. You have a lot to pull from, and you skipped it all.
Yeah, they skipped the cream of the crop and went for the bottom of the barrel. Macho Man would be very disappointed.
There's a reason they had short runs. Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Good going, 70s. No, Black Panther has a lot riding on it because it's the final movie of Phase 4, and it's also the sequel to Black Panther.
Yeah.
And it's also got to be this thing that's also the first thing, of that franchise without Chadwick Boseman. So, like certain event type of movies, this has it's got to be 3 or 4 different things and still try to be passed off as one movie. So I think it'll have a good opening weekend. I truly believe it's going to have at the minimum 150, somewhere between 150 and 180. I don't think it'll match the first movie, but I think 150, 180 will be its first weekend. The second weekend is where the real conversations are going to be had, because word of mouth will spread, and it will spread fast with this movie, because normies are still going to want to see it, because normies just see, oh, hey, look, Black Panther, and they'll think, hold up, but did the actor die? Oh, I guess I might as well see what's going on, and then they'll see what's going on. But maybe if we're lucky, we'll get another PS2 fight the way we did with T'Challa and freaking Killmonger. I've been waiting for a PS3 follow-up, so we'll see.
Well, I look, I mean, let's review what is coming, because obviously this armor wars thing, right? But before that, right, we finish up with Wakanda Forever. Then we move into Phase 5, or as I will call it, Phase Dive. And you're starting off
Face dive, maybe. Face
That
dive.
actually sounds like so gloppy.
Face dive. There you go.
and you actually roll. You start that up with a trailer that recently leaked. Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, I believe, is the first thing that they'll release there. And there was very little demand for the Ant-Man and Wasp film. It did not break the bank. And you're following that up with this, and everything is a linchpin on that to get everything moving forward, from what I'm led to believe. Then we get the Marvels, which again, you're bringing in sub-level interest characters once more. The Plank of Wood. And look, I didn't watch Miss Marvel. Everybody that has seen it that I trust has said it's actually not bad. It's pretty good.
I've heard that too.
It's quite culturally relevant to the what it's trying to present, and I think that's interesting, right? But at the same time, it's a character not a lot of people dove into on Disney Plus. And this is where Disney's getting lazy. They're introducing these characters in these crappy ass shows, and then they're trying to bring them to the screen as, part of ensembles, so that they can hopefully roll them out in the future as major points. That's what all this is about, right? It's the effect of the backdoor pilot in television. It's the whole thing, and it's not working because these characters are not fleshed out well. Again, and they come from books that nobody cared about. And then the only thing I think that'll rescue, it would rescue Phase 5 would be Guardians of the Galaxy. Blade was supposed to be part of this Phase 5, but now that's probably going to be Armor Wars. So, I mean, they really only have one major property in Phase 5, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which will be the last one. So they're really screwed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's hard to see the connective tissue between a lot of these shows and movies. Like, where is
It's
that
been
going?
kind of muddy, yeah. And some of them are like out of whack order and shit. So yeah, that's. I have zero interest in any of this. I can't wait till Guardians, and that's the only one I'm really looking forward to. I'll be 100% honest with y'all. So with that, Michael
that's
Beacom,
a fair one.
yeah,
Hey,
Michael
Beacom.
Beacom says Sci-Fi I would like to see adapted. The Moat in God's Eye, Niven Pornell,
Nice one.
impossible to do
Yeah.
before CGI.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's actually a lot of films that were you could make with the adaptations that couldn't be made without CGI, right?
Yeah.
While we're so far along, we could do some really amazing stuff.
Unfortunately, yeah.
With
I don't
the right-
want to do some of it now, though.
But with the right leadership, script, casting, you could push the Fantastic Four to the beyond because of what we can do with CGI. And I think that would be great, because the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, has a lot of great, anti-heroes, villains, other things that come across their path in their adventures. I want that. That's the kind of thing I want. It's like they did a really good job with with the recent Spider-Man trilogy, right? And wrapping it up the way they did. You had, and they created the meme, which is, hey, it's the meme, but beyond that, it was a good film. And there are beings, villains, antiheroes, whatever you want to call them. There's a whole rogues gallery of Spider-Man villains that we could be seeing.
You and your Spider-Man. I like how you always say Spider-Man.
But am I wrong, Clobby and Nick? I mean, you guys
are beings.
You're not wrong, dude.
No, we talk about it all the time. We talk
my
about Spidey's Rogues Gallery all the time, and the FF.
Yep.
They both have big.
Scorpion.
Yeah.
I still want my movie at the arcade. I still want my movie with the iguana, which I know that one's not gonna happen, but me and Clobby will laugh about that one.
Oh God,
The iguana.
Wow, dude.
Well, we
Big
are
Spot
somewhat.
Pete. Okay.
There you go. Well, we're on somewhat of a schedule, so let's keep moving along here. Action Comes to speak of innovation. Let's talk about YouTube memberships versus Patreon. I hear memberships are taking off. What are your thoughts? Well, I like the membership idea. It makes things a little bit more centralized. Patreon, well, we have a history with how they work.
Yeah.
But both of them are kind of necessary for a lot of YouTubers to function, unfortunately, because it feels like YouTube has passed the buck onto you guys and onto us to try and figure out our own means to get by, which is kind of sad. But
we're like discount streaming services.
But if that's the
Individual.
case, then they need to open up the gates to where we have more access to the advertisers. Which
to add to
Well, they're taking 30%. And
that we know of. I don't believe that. I think it's more than that.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it and I'm going, you know what, Odyssey, with this their Patreon replacement that they're rolling out, I might legitimately do that. All my content goes to Odyssey as well. I'm going to start dual live streaming to YouTube and Odyssey at the same time. It is not easy. It's a pain in the booty, but to set up. Hopefully they make that easier in the future. But that's a real option, right? And then, if I decide to, break the paywall at Rumble, I can live stream over there. I could simultaneously live stream to YouTube, Odyssey, and Rumble. And at least at Odyssey, it's a complete pass through. And the money that I would collect there would be mine.
There
and
is also
again,
a subscribe star. That's
subscribe
from
star.
our
Yeah,
very
you wanted to
division
add to
uses.
this. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's
Go ahead.
what I want. Just say Subscribe Star seems to be functioning a lot better than Patreon, because Patreon, like all our
I can't get
ever
my
so
money out of there.
glorious, that's one thing too. Apparently, I've heard of
No,
money
Subscribe
issues
Star.
Oh, Subscribe Star, really? Huh?
I can't get my money. Yeah, so I quit
That's
using them.
weird. I was gonna say, Misha asked our Dick's Lord how he gets his. Because the thing is, Patreon has a habit, much like your Discord, much like Facebook, where if you exist for reasons that they don't like, they could just nuke your platform completely. And they did to Sydney Watson, I think, a few months ago, and they did Culture too. Or was
No,
it
keep
Tom?
going. Keep going.
Well, I'm just gonna say, like, I feel like that's not a safe one to use.
Oh, it's not a safe
Ultimately is
place.
what I'm getting.
No.
It's not. I get the idea, but there are far better to use out there. And honestly, I can't believe I'm saying, but I think YouTube memberships are much safer than Patreon. Not that that's saying much, but it's far better than them.
More evidence that they're removing bots in mass right now. Chrissy Mayer lost 2K on Twitter. Cat Turd lost 11,000 on Twitter in the last hour. I mean, they're whacking the bots because they are trying not to get busted.
But too bad.
I just lost 100,000. I mean, I didn't have them.
I know you, right? You were popular as fuck.
I didn't have them in the first place.
I haven't lost any yet, so I don't know if that means shit. But yeah, I haven't really paid attention to how many I had before that. Anyhow, action comments the best I can say on it at this time, but thank you for that. And then Pinochet's helicopter tour says, do you think writers could pull off an overarching 2 original, and 3 even-sided story, similar to the quality of The Wire. Where are the new things? Well, they're out there. It's just harder to find them than it used to be.
I think they can do it. There are still good writers out there. I mean, there's The Offer was a fantastic show. We've seen other great shows. Better Call Saul.
Primal.
There's still good shows being made. They're just a lot harder to find, and there are a lot
You
less
gotta
of
find
them.
them. They're not
Yeah.
gonna be spoon fed to you. Is the difference? You gotta be the one go out and finds it. You know what? I'll tell you what. When you do go and find these things, you're gonna get a lot of things that are gonna be a miss. But when you find those things absolutely hit, the rewards are that much greater because you went out of your way to seek it out, looking and looking. That moment you hit gold, you're like, fuck yes, I got this. And then before you know it, you're gonna want to rave about it and tell everybody. So seek things out, folks. There's nothing wrong with seeing what else is out there that we don't know about. Because for all we know, your favorite thing could be in front of you that you aren't even aware of.
And look overseas,
Yes.
Don't just look at the Anglosphere.
Yes.
Look at Asia. Look at India. Both for movies and television. There's a lot of great television shows over in Asia.
I can't promote enough the stuff that's coming out of India right now, and I know Brian, you agree with me. I mean, it's unbelievable. RRR was our everybody's entry point, thanks to our friend Chris Gore. But from that point forward, I've had this massive discovery of incredible things, and it's been good. Ponyin Severin. That's a new one that just came, a new film that just came out, made bank. It actually made $4 million in the States in its opening box office weekend. It did 22 million global, which is a huge opening for an Indian film. They're kicking Hollywood's ass at making Hollywood films, and they're doing it cheaper and better. It's just, we live in a different world now.
Yeah. And one of the great things about it is because there's competing studio systems there, that competition is great because it's
over there. Yeah.
They're pushing each other to keep raising the bar between Bollywood and Tollywood and all the other areas that are making movies. They're pushing themselves up all the time.
Well, and that. But see, Bollywood, they're trying. There are active campaigns to corrupt Bollywood from both Amazon and some other studios, right? And I don't think you're going to be able to do that with Tollywood or any of these other offshoots of that industry. It isn't going to work. You might be able to get that in Bollywood, but Tamil and Telugu language films are going to continue to be what they are because regionally, that they're not going to allow for this, WEF, ESG garbage to get shoved into their stuff, Yeah.
So it's great, but also from a television perspective, I watch a lot of Korean, Japanese, Taiwanese stuff, and there's some fantastic shows out there.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking anime here, we're talking live action shows.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, the more you're exposed to the stuff that's coming out internationally, even if you have to read subtitles, which for me, it wasn't a big deal. I hear that's a lot of people's complaints, and I don't care.
No, I like it. I don't mind at all.
But first of all, if a movie's good, oftentimes the dialogue is only about half of it. So if you catch half of the dialogue and you're watching something that's amazing, maybe you have to stop and rewind again, but it doesn't change how compelling what's happening on the screen is. And I mean, it takes you back to even a silent movie era when it was so good on the screen that it didn't matter. You couldn't hear what they were saying, but set that all aside. They just make quality stuff. And if you're used to watching, subtitles, you were happy.
Yeah, actually, one thing thinking about it, I'd love to see remade. If we were talking earlier about properties we'd like to see. Back in the 70s, there were two really good martial arts shows based on Chinese stories. There was The Water Margin and Monkey in the 70s. I'd love to see those remade with big budgets, big budget action TV. And it don't have to be movies, TV shows, but anyone who remembers those will remember how much fun they were. Lots of kung fu, but also kind of, comic moments as well and whatever. But they were great shows. I'd love to see those remade. The Water Margin particularly. Anyway, I'm an old guy, so I remember the old stuff. Hello?
Hard.
Are we
I
still
was just
there?
letting you guys discuss your fucking Indian
What?
stuff. Like,
But
yeah.
Vikram Veda. Have you seen Culture? Have you seen Vikram Veda yet?
Even though
No,
I
it's on my list.
have
It's
a
on
whole
the-
other
Yeah.
big story to get to here yet, but
It's
yeah.
not on
And-
in town here, but it is in a nearby town.
Yeah,
so
and
maybe
I missed the very short window to catch Brahmastra
Mm.
locally.
I
so-
did see it.
Okay,
That was the
shush
first
it,
time I'd been in a cinema in 4 years.
shush it, because I'm gonna see that film. Even if I have to
Yeah.
travel, I've got to see it. Because I promised to review it, so I've got to find a way to see it. But,
Well, in the meantime, people can watch my review. Then go watch your better review, because yours will be much better.
I,
than mine.
I doubt that, Brian. You're doing great work over there, my friend. But Tom wants to get to another story, and we took over
Got some
with
super chats there.
foreign film talk. So
Yeah,
That's
we
what
got
we do.
super chats here. First of all, we got Stephanie Janicek who says, "What about movies about the saints? Saint Paul had a very interesting life. He was one of the murderers of Saint Stephen, first martyr." Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that
There
I
you
think
go.
you could dive into there. That you could throw in a
Absolutely.
little bit of a sci-fi bend to it or something. Absolutely. Michael Gonzalez says Elric of Melnibone,
Yes.
along with
By Michael
author Moorcock's BOC and Hawkwind's Song, or the entire Eternal Champion with Jerry Cornelius, Coram Hawkman, Hawkmoon, sorry.
No one has
etc.
tried movies of any of the Michael Moorcock stuff like that, really, that I've ever seen. Not even and that would be something. Yeah, a fertile ground there for it. Yeah,
It's a great idea. Yeah,
it is a
love
great
to
idea.
see that.
Elric's great stuff.
And they could use Hawkwind songs in the soundtrack, so that would be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yep,
I
sure.
love some Hawkwind.
good idea.
Oh,
Michael.
yeah.
All right. Pinochet then comes in and says, Mouse will never admit defeat. Hope not a strategy. Yeah, that too. I will
That's
never accept
true.
that.
I mean, he did
Indeed.
beat the shit out of a Jonas brother on South Park. He's like, "Get the fuck up! Get the fuck up!" Haha.
He made Randy kill Winnie the Pooh.
It's true.
Mr. Tickletrunk said, I'd love to see off-the-wall adaptations of 90s The Head, a good Eon Flux movie. Didn't they do an Eon Flux movie?
Yeah, he means a good one now, I think.
Oh, a good. Yeah, he did say it in
Yeah.
bold letters.
Yeah.
Sorry. If I got a faithful adaptation of the
Well,
Max, I'd be a pig in shit. There you go.
There you go. Well, I think was it Charlize Theron or something in some
Yeah. That's what I
Ion
was
Flux
thinking.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Oh, we got
Sure.
Gary Ambrosia in the chat. Holy shit.
Hey, Gary.
I'm gonna send you the link, Gary. If you're not busy, you can hop in. Otherwise, no worries, no pressure, brother. Buddy.
And Aaron Judge, for those of you that follow baseball, just hit a number 62 home
Good for
run.
him.
Wow.
Let me know when it's 69.
Totally
Do me a
right.
favor, Culture, and while I'm sending this link, read this super chat for me. Will you?
Indeed. Hillis Mallory for $5. Thank you very much. Says, I want a good adaptation of the Discworld novels in theaters. I do too.
Mm.
We Freemen or Witches Abroad, female dwarves with beards. There you go. All of that sounds good. All that sounds good.
That tickles.
Hold on. Thank you, Hillis, for that comment.
Yeah.
Discworld
So
would
many
be
things.
cool, dude. Yeah.
There's so many things that have bad adaptations that go back and get it. If you can go back and get another shot at it, another crack at it,
So, speaking of Gary, though, he says, this is my 7th attempt to send a super chat tonight. The bots are out. Hail Mead and this awesome panel. Well, thank you,
Wow.
Gary.
There you go.
As I said, I did send you the link. If you're not busy, feel free to hop in with us. And we're going to chit-chat some Lord of the Rings for a little bit anyway. And then we're going to chit-chat about whatever comes up until I decide it's time to hit the button, because I got about a half hour of Dirty Harry to watch yet. So,
Ooh, get to it.
yeah.
I'm sure you've
I've
seen
seen the
not your
movie a
first
million
time, but
times.
yeah,
Oh,
right,
yeah,
you
I've seen it a million times.
Refresher, sure.
I like to be refreshed, yes. So
Sure. Great.
this piece of work here that they clearly have done some digital work here. This is
Oh,
bullshit.
they did, because if you see a
That's the
picture,
biggest
of
bunch of fancy ass bullshit I ever saw.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah, and that
Jennifer
dress,
Salke.
yeah, that dress is designed to do exactly what it's doing.
Oh, we'll find out who she is in just a moment for those who don't know. But here, I'll
Okay.
find a picture of what she really looks like so y'all can see. That's what she really looks
Whoa,
like.
my goodness.
That's
Is
what I'm
that made
saying.
Is that made out of
Does
latex, that
wonders.
dress?
Oh, that's
No,
so
there is
there.
definitely some work done there.
filter there.
Well, and she's draped over with a gentleman's coat.
Yeah,
Her
that too.
shoulders.
Hello, Instagram.
So yeah, I brought this up here for a reason. We're not going to read this whole fucking interview because this is nothing but a puff piece for Jennifer.
Oh,
Salke.
this is a giant puff piece. It's not a puff is not even strong enough. Like this is like down pillow bedding material of puffing. This is
It was a fluff piece and a half.
It's unbelievable. I can't find how just ridiculous this is. It ridiculously positive about her and her leadership, which I would beg to differ with almost every aspect of it. But
well, the reason I bring this up is because if you've read the title of the show, I posited this idea about a week or so back here now, or maybe a couple weeks back, and we're kind of seeing this idea that I posited come to fruition. And as I said, we're not going to read this fucking article. It takes 18 minutes just to listen to the goddamn bastard through their animated version there, or whatever you call it, or the audible version, or whatever you call it. My idea is that this show is too big to fail. They cannot allow this show to fail. Yep. They are going out of their way, every way, shape, or form, to try and manipulate. Just as it was either early this week or last week, we were doing the reporting on the actual ratings from Nielsen, and then Forbes come out and said, wait a minute, there's some shenanigans going on here. Culture, if you want to take us real briefly through what that mess was all about. Unless he went to take a pee. Yeah, he said be right back. Sorry. So yeah, what that mess was all about was basically the Nielsen's were saying that Rings of Power was the #1 show for the week and had beat, or actually they didn't say that, but then people in the media and Amazon obviously pushed this idea that they had beat Rings of Power, but then people like us and Valiant Renegade and Culture and others, including Forbes, had pointed out, wait a minute, not really, because you're going by a metric that's only rating shows that are streaming originals, and since Game of Thrones new show, the House of Dragons show, is actually a cable show first and foremost, and not a streaming show, it's not even counted in that respect. And even if it was, it's still got almost or more than half of the viewers just in streaming that Rings of Power did, on top of the 10+ million viewers they got on television, which I think was eventually reported for the weekend for like 25 million views or whatever it was. And of course, that was the magic number that Amazon tried to pretend that many people watched Rings of Power, with little to no real evidence of it. And I'm not a fan of how they present this whole like minutes watched thing. I know some people are, some people aren't. I think
it's dumb because it's the whole minutes watch. Like, what if your TV is on and you're sleeping? Because some people just have to have like background noise to sleep.
Well, in the same time, that would still count as a view.
And that's the problem. That still counts as and that counts as the minutes and the view. This stuff is so weird how they have all these weird subcategories just to make this look good. Like, what happened to just views? That's it, regardless of cable, streaming, or non-original cable, or original cable, non-original streaming, original streaming. Like, way too many subcategories. Like, this stuff definitely needs to be more clear cut.
But yeah, so I mean, clearly there's stuff getting out there now that this is not working out the way they were hoping. We recently have a video that's going to be coming up here, but in this video we have an analyst named Tom Forte, who works. I don't know if he works for Amazon or if he works. I believe he works for a firm that represents Amazon's shareholders, if I'm not mistaken. This is where I wish Culture was back here again. But this guy, he's not confident in this whole thing. In fact, this individual fell asleep while watching the fucking show. So this guy's job is basically to analyze these things for Amazon and for their shareholders, and to see if they're going to be profitable. And this guy couldn't even get through the fucking show himself. And he's paying attention to all the bad press, or not bad press, but more so bad reception the show is getting. And he was interviewed about it, and we're going to talk about it in an upcoming video. But I mean, they are doing everything they can to try and sell this fucking show as some kind of fucking winner. And I've only watched 20 goddamn minutes of this thing. I have not watched any more of it. But they have committed to 50 hours of programming from the Tolkien estate. And as far as I know, they have to release at least 4-hour episode, over 4. So that means like 5-hour episodes a season. So at this point, however they do it, they have to produce that much that way, right? They're stuck in a situation where they can't like play some game and get out of this somehow.
Oh, they have to make 50 hours. They committed.
Yeah.
I read that. I was like, good God, they have to do 50 hours of this garbage.
You could just film Galadriel reading the telephone book or something.
I'm committed because I'm going on a show on Saturday. I'm committed to watching episode 7 or whatever. Do you realize how hard that's going to be for me to do?
You're suffering for everyone.
It is. I think I caught it at the end as Tom was saying it. It's boring. You have analyst executives, and I think that's what.
Well,
Tom
that's what I was talking about. I wish you were here because I think I said it right. But this Tom Forte, he works for this company. Do they work for Amazon, or they just work for the shareholders of Amazon to protect their interests?
Yeah, he's a financial
D.A.
analyst.
Davidson, that's who it is that he works for.
Yeah, he's a financial analyst with a company that's essentially it represents investors. I mean, that's what they do. It's part of funds and stuff like that. But it's weird because he's telling the investors that this is garbage. I mean, like not pulling any punches. It's just you just don't do that.
It's like that episode of The Simpsons where Homer meets his brother. He's played by Danny DeVito. And they build the Homer, that car. Mm-hmm. And so Tom is the guy going, this monstrosity cost $700 million?
Yeah.
And where's the other 300? Where's the other 300 million going? I thought it was $1 billion. Where's that going?
We were factoring in that's P&A, I believe. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all the supporting stuff, and what most people don't realize is they're rolling in some stuff that should be included in their P&A budget into their shopping side of the equation, hiding it. Because if you've gotten anything from Amazon recently, you may have seen some advertisements from the Rings of Power. You know how they might do a specialty box that you would get your package delivered in. And on a daily basis.
I got a bunch of those.
All the Amazon tape is Rings of Power.
Yeah, their tape is too. Yeah.
And so it's one of those things. I have a strong feeling. That they're going to have to knock the expenses off of this thing. And Andre's right, and you're right, Tom, and other people comment on this. They are amortizing this show over time because of their investment, in the sets and everything else. They can continue to use all of that stuff. Yeah. So it does make the successive seasons less expensive.
And that's kind of what this article with Sulky brings up, I believe. Yeah. And again, it's so fucking long, but it's mostly just kissing her ass, talking about how great she is and how she's so excited about this and how they've got this big whole plan, and they're doing everything they can to present this as some kind of success that it isn't really. Let's be real here. That's what this whole string of the last 2 or 3 weeks worth of media has been.
But they're leaning incredibly heavily in on the so many billions of minutes streamed and all that.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit before you got back.
Trying to prop this thing up. Right, the first 2 episodes, yada yada, and I'm thinking, Game of Thrones kicked your ass, and it continues.
Not just Game of Thrones culture, but the spin-off prequel.
I'm sorry. Yeah, excuse me.
Well, both of them technically
but
did,
no, you're right. Also, Nick, that Game of Thrones, that viewership for that old show was like up. It's like I don't think you get how this works, Amazon. You haven't been a studio long enough to get it, and you have an open wallet, and that's a problem because you're spending money incredibly foolishly.
I still don't see how they expect to make a return on this because nobody's really going to subscribe to Amazon Prime not that many people are going to subscribe to watch this, because most people are already subscribed if you're buying things from Amazon anyway.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
something
that's
that
part
happens
of the
to be
problem.
there. So where are they going
And I-
to make the money? Where's the extra subscriptions going to come from?
I
Are they
don't
going
know.
to sell
because-
merchandise? I mean,
Well, but their metrics for this being a success or not have to do with the first impression viewers, right? People who've never looked. That's normally how they look at their shows. The first time that somebody uses the video feature, the actual Amazon Prime Video feature, Prime Video,
Yeah.
that they look at that actually dictates to Amazon whether or not something was a win.
That goes
Because
back to our Cobra Kai video we just released. If you guys haven't seen it, I suggest you check it out, because they still haven't greenlit Cobra Kai season 6. And I know the first people's response.
Season 5.
Exactly. And we pointed it out too in our video. And we also noted that, of course, everybody's first reaction is, what do you mean they haven't renewed it yet? It's one of their biggest fucking hits. Well, what Culture is saying is 100% correct. Netflix runs on the same type of model. They sign on for 2 to 3 seasons, and if out of those 2 to 3 seasons they don't gain enough new subscribers off of a show, they're not going to continue it. They don't see a reason to, because 30 episodes to 50 episodes is where most people dive off anyway. And at this point, they're like, fuck it. We've got our 2 seasons out of Cobra Kai. We're done here. But like, this is a bigger deal because they needed this. They wanted this. They committed to 5 fucking years. And Culture's right. I don't see, unless they report this next quarter that they had some huge, unless they added 25 million plus subscribers to their fucking base over this show alone, to me, it's not that, even that I don't think would cover it.
I don't know. Look, this has been, it's the same problem that they suffer with all the time at Amazon, occasionally at Netflix, less so now. They're not greenlighting dumb shit, but who's the show for? It's not for hardcore fans. Hardcore fans walked away from this right away. Hardcore fans hated this from the word go. You had 750 million people that potentially could have been customers for this show.
Yeah.
They walked away. You then are going after this non-existent niche. I mean, let's just take a look at Bros. It's a non-existent niche of a niche, and where are they? You're changing the lore, you're changing the characterization of the characters. People are just going to reject it. And they have.
seems like as Vertical Horizons in the chat says, it's a gigantic ego trip for Amazon. Yeah. And it's an expensive ego trip. And are they going to amortize this thing from the second to the third age? Because that's how long it'll take to build it. Now, this is why Mike's not been here tonight, because he's been working on how to hide the losses for Amazon. He's been working hard doing that.
I'm here because I want to make an offer to buy Midnight's Edge After Dark so that I can promote my rabbit chicken farm for negative 44.4 billion pesos.
But you promote it for free on here anyway, so why would you need to buy them?
That's why it's negative 44.4 billion pesos. So I just sorry I'm so late, but I just wanted to add into the discussion that the reason this article, I'm sorry I'm so late, but I've been working all day. The reason this is such a huge issue, or potentially huge issue, is twofold. One is that one's anecdotal and one is more newsworthy, which is that this is never about really making money, getting subscribers, getting this, getting that. We got to look at their decision to do this Rings of Power thing as a value brand, launch the Amazon Studios. A lot like you took Disney as a company, which was a theme parks, and then it decided to grab Pixar, and later grab Star Wars, and later grab this, and later grab that. It's all about adding value to the mountaintop. And so in the case of Amazon and Bezos, yeah, it's part ego trip. It's also Amazon Studios because this is their flagship. So it's supposed to add value. Now, the reason that's important to consider as a backdrop is because with this analyst, who is a Wall Street analyst, saying that this thing sucks, it affects stock price. See, it doesn't matter from a real basic math point of view whether or not Amazon gets any new subs from this or not, because it's about ego, vanity, and about value. proposition. So for him saying this, he's saying that this whole venture, this $1 billion, doesn't have any value. And because it doesn't potentially have any value, everybody on Wall Street needs to take notice. Now, this is where it hurts. See, we can't individually hurt them by not watching it, partially watching it, talking shit about it. None of that really matters. But what does matter is if their stock price gets affected in any meaningful way. And that is where Go Woke starts to make some get broke, because that's what these guys care about. They care about stock price. Guys like Bezos and all of his ESG, diversity, inclusion, equity, bozo buddies, they care about stock price. All right, way to kill the party, Mexican Iron Man.
No, that was brilliantly broken
Way
down.
to come in and talk boring shit.
Well done.
Way to Mexican Iron Man and suck the life out of the room. I feel like I was at a pool party. Everybody was having fun. And in came the fat 400-pound Mexican dude in a Speedo, and everybody's horrified and got out of the pool.
I don't think that's the case,
No,
Mike.
sir.
But no,
I
I
just thought
actually
you were on the same
appreciated that.
panel
And
for once.
We're
Yeah,
glad to
and-
see you.
it's been right. But that's that's right in line with the comments we've been making all along, that you can't support companies like this mega corps with ESG cash alone, because eventually that money will go away too, because where does it come from? There's not going to be a lot of cheap money left. I mean, millennials are coming to the realization that buying a house may not be in their near future. There are
Right.
economic
I'll take those.
macroeconomics, in play here that are going to change, the dynamics of people just consuming this to begin with, whether or not they even bother with certain streaming channels. Where does the money come from?
Yep. Get woke, go broke. Eventually it dries up, baby.
Yeah,
Yep.
Where'd Tom go?
yeah, he's taking a break.
Oh, okay.
Well, y'all just had Mike come in, and I had something ready for him.
Mike, you've had your nap this afternoon. This is our turn.
Now I just finished a 15-hour workday. Okay, you know what? Fine.
Supposed to go a little something like this.
Oh,
Introducing Mexican Iron Man. Mariachi Iron Man.
There you go.
I've been saying that. Did you like it?
I love that.
Nice.
Awesome.
I love that. I was trying to turn on my snap camera so I could look like a little I have a new squirrel avatar that I'm playing with that moves when I move, but I haven't been able to get it work yet.
You're not supposed to use a real squirrel, Mike.
Oh,
It's an avatar.
Bambino, take the squirrel back out. Bambino.
Too late.
Bambino's taking the squirrel back out.
It's loose.
Loose
So-
like a one-necked goose. So yeah, thank you for that explanation, Mike. Because yeah, like this whole thing to me, it feels like a ploy, a publicity stunt, a tour, whatever you want to call it, to try and save some kind of face on this show. And as the title, kind of, I guess I'm asking the big question: is Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, too big to fail? Did they spend too much money on this that no matter what happens, they cannot let it be perceived as a failure? That's
That's absolutely the case. And I think that's why if we look back on this thing, think about everything that we've seen. Let's go back a year. We saw Amazon reach out to YouTube creator. I'm talking before the cast, before I'm talking about before the tour, going way back. They found different people that were YouTubers, independent creators. They flew people in. They started getting that hype train rolling. Then later you look at the media tour that they did with some of the YouTube quote influencers, who have never to this day written any or done any videos about this shit. You look at what they've done with the media and all this stuff. This whole thing is an ego project value proposition. We need to start looking at Bezos as a wannabe Iger. You know how Iger came to Disney and going back to even Eisner, these CEO titans, they're not happy with just running a profitable theme park and attraction hotel, cruise ship company. No, they got to have Pixar. They got to buy Star Wars. They got to buy Fox. They got to buy the Muppets. Make a list of shit that they got to buy to quote add value to prop up the stock value. And this thing here, where we've got literally within hours of each other, we've got a major Wall Street analyst saying that this thing might be full of shit. And then that article that you just brought up, Woo! Yep. They are spinning this mofo like plates at a carnival.
There you go. Culture, I know you got to take off. So do you have any response to my main question before you head out the door? Is this show too big for them to be perceived as a failure in any way?
No, this show is big enough to be a colossal failure, and it'll be really easy to call. And I think Mike gave you a whole list of reasons why I think what you also surmised is accurate. If it doesn't result in extra boatloads of humans that signed up for Amazon Prime, then what was the effing point?
There you go. Well, thank you, Culture, for your time. Check out Culture Casino's channel.
Thank you all.
I show up there on Tuesdays. Sometimes I bring the boss man with me.
Yeah.
And we also have the weekend stuff that we do from time to time as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
check it out.
Yeah, and check out all these other amazing tubers that I'm leaving behind. You guys have a great night, and put your pants back on. We'll see you later, everybody.
Fuck you. I'm gonna put my pants on. It's not he's not my mother.
Make sure it's your own pants and not somebody else's.
Yeah, and if I want to wear Nick's underwear, I will. What can you do about it?
On your head.
He ain't gonna do nothing. You're
the best part
closer
is
to you than he is to me.
Exactly.
Best part is Nick's still wearing it at the same time.
Well, that would be impossible, but because I'm a fat kid. I was gonna say his huge ass boxers, like baggiest pair of boxers, would be like tighty whities to me. So that'd be how that would work. But no, like yeah. So 70s. Do you think that Lord of the Rings is too big to fail?
I don't think anything is too big to fail. In fact, the bigger it is, the bigger the probability it will fail. In this instance, I think they'll do their best to pretend it's a success, but I don't think there's a measurable success metric that they can use that will convince us, or indeed anybody.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be probably studies done on this in a few years from now, detailing just what a disaster it was. If they'd made it for $50 million and not 700 million, so be it. Who cares?
Right.
But it's the money they spent. It's a massive ego trip, and they could have spent that money wisely and made something amazing that we all loved.
You're right, Brian. As they said in Spaceballs, it's not about money.
Yeah.
It's about a shitload of money.
That's right. I still think that they were hoping that this would be enough of a critical, what does that matter these days? Enough of a success that they could make an attempt to remake the Peter Jackson trilogy in their own image.
Yeah, I think you all are correct. So Nick, yeah, go ahead and take your take on that.
I just think it's worse when they think, okay, well, this is Peter Jackson, this is J.R. Tolkien. So they truly think that, and then of course you got all your demographic optics that they're putting in here with the identity politics, that they think that every audience is going to automatically translate. Like they don't ever consider that, hey, maybe this might turn people away. And this is what you get when you live in a bubble boy world where you only want to hear from people who are going to be your yes man. And you get shows like this, and you get what you fucking deserve. So if this does take a tumble, I will not feel sympathy for the head honchos making decisions. I mean, sure, I be somewhat sympathetic for like some of the actors, the people who do like the stunt work and all that stuff, sure, but the big boys who made this decision, they did this to themselves. They're at this point where they think they can just do whatever they want with any IP and that people are going to eat it up. They think they're at that point where they think we are that stupid. We're not, and we're proving that to them right now. I'm not interested in the Rings of Power. I'm not going to give them my watch. I'm not going to give them my time. Obviously I'll watch your guys' videos on. I'll watch the Critical Drinker talk about it, but I want this thing to rot. Absolutely rot.
There you go.
Shades of Revenge of the Sith there. You have done that to yourself.
Clobby, you're last but definitely not least, man. Do you think it's too big to fail? No, go ahead. I want to hear you.
Definitely at least because I don't really spend a whole lot of time thinking about the show. It's not something
you probably watched more than I have.
None. No. I mean,
Okay, so you have me beat. I
Not
only watched
even-
20 minutes.
not
so.
even a trailer.
I've seen all of it.
Either. I haven't watched
So,
anything
I
either.
got
I'm a
nothing other than.
clubby.
Yeah, I have no interest in it, but I do. I understand what everyone is saying here, and absolutely, is anything too big to fail? I wonder, but I think they view it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of from what I was saying from the start, and the way Brian I think put it best is like, yeah, nothing is too big to fail, but they will do everything they can to make it seem like it's not one.
Indeed.
And this is the new Batwoman. They're
Yes.
committed.
They are committed, but it will end up in the same place, I'm sure.
Yep.
So we'll have
Let's
to wait
make
and
sure
see
it
how
gets
this
there.
affects the company overall, though. That's the bigger question.
I mean, they're already filming the second season, right?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Are
Well,
they?
yeah,
There you
they're
go.
getting.
There
Or
you
it's not
go.
they're gearing up. to.
Glamorous Britain, yes.
Yeah. Brett Cohen sent us a super sticker. Thank you so much for that, Brett. It is a Shiba dog saying "Good job" while raising his thumb up. Why don't you hit that thumb up, folks, in recognition of Brett Cohen? We would appreciate that. And then we had Dearest who said it's Morphid time. Could be
Morbid because of
Mighty
Morbius.
Morphid.
I know, Morphid. Yeah. Thank you for that, Dearest. And then we got Mr. Tickle Trunk in the house who says he sends us a toonie. Said Rings of Power, $31. Producer wants this ride to keep on going.
That's true. A lot of producers.
Yep.
Credits.
A lot of money.
A lot of
Yeah,
credits.
at least half that money probably went right back in their pockets. That's not improbable. And they just forgot to be good to be worth the money. Eldritch Lord Haster has been a member for 1 year. Well, happy anniversary. Actually, for 14 months. This thing is always off by how it does its thing. But for 14 months, the maximum effort puppy level. Thank you for that. Says the Rings of Power put me to sleep. So boring. Yeah, I couldn't take it, man. I was out after 20, 25 minutes or so. You know.
You gave it a shot, dude.
Yeah, at least you tried. Eldritch Lord Haster says, keep up the good reporting. Well, we try, and thank you so much for that, Eldritch. We will do our best. Mega J says, to quote the Critical Drinker's recent video on Rings of Power, it's $1 billion nightmare. That was more Australian. Let me try that again. Oh, go ahead. Why don't you do it, Brian?
That's $1 billion nightmare.
It's $1 billion nightmare.
Nightmare.
Nightmare. Is that better?
Canny
No.
day, Fife. This wasn't a member chat. I just thought it was funny.
Oh, wow. Oh, well.
I just thought it was being funny.
The 70s rock
Bezos.
fan who's been a member for 1 year just thought this was funny, so there you go.
I
Jeff
remember for
Bezos.
longer than that.
Yeah.
Jeff
Yeah, I was going to
Bezos.
say. You're probably 14 months just like our last one there.
We're all 14 months.
You are. I see their math is wonky on that thing. I can't remember how it works. Somebody explained it to me. I think Six did once, and I'm just like, as I went cross-eyed.
2 + 2 = 14 months. That's YouTube math.
Well, she's been barking and everything. Sorry about that, guys.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I don't suggest watching Rings of Power while you're driving or operating heavy equipment.
But if you need some sleep,
Yes,
It's
it
like-
will make you
like
drowsy.
Andor, it will definitely help with that.
Induce Z's.
It's the first $1 billion ASMR show.
And door will help you get your Z's.
I have a weird respect for people who watch all these bad shows going on at once because I have no intentions of watching the bore of Andor,
Oh,
and then
man.
you got revisionist Rings of Power, and then there's She-Hulk. So it's like bad things do come in threes, and I've stuck with She-Hulk, and I'm
At least
barely plugging
that's
along.
not boring.
barely.
That's annoying and bad. I mean, I gotta admit, I don't fall asleep when I'm watching She-Hulk. I'm sitting there,
No,
can't
I
believe how
definitely
bad
don't.
it is.
I'm
like,
mortified
wow,
by
really?
the utter
So
stupidity.
I'll give them some credit there. And that's about all the credit they'll ever get from me. Thank
We're
you,
almost
She-Hulk.
up
I
to our
didn't fall
normal
asleep.
demographic. We got 2 women watching right now.
Oh wow,
We're almost near our
No.
demographic.
Gotta be more.
If there's
than
any
that.
more, sound off. I don't want to make anyone feel left out.
Ladies,
But we're
come
at
on.
like a 0.004%.
I think there's at least 3. There's at least 3.
Yeah, at least 3, you think?
Yeah.
Is
You're
the wifey
underestimating
listening?
her.
Yeah.
No.
She
doesn't
don't
listen
count.
to my
She has to
shows.
listen because you're on the show. Okay.
She doesn't.
And your
listen to
mom
my
don't count
shows.
either, Mike. So don't be counting Mama C.
Well, Mom's mic
Oh,
is here
she
with
is
me.
listening. Hi, Mom.
Mom's
But
mic is
still.
here with me, and she's not listening right now.
Oh, come on now. That's not nice.
My mom thinks Tom's hilarious.
So we got 3 women.
6 is listening. I thought she was sleeping. You're supposed to be
Hey,
sleeping.
6.
We can't define a woman. That's true. We can't do
6.
that.
Yeah, what are you, a
I
biologist?
hope you got enough rest for work tonight.
All right, 4.
I know how to define what is a woman. They should.
So we got 4.
They should interview
4
me.
out of 388.
Mike, you're never going to get
That's
to finish
almost
that joke.
1%, isn't it? Yeah, what was that, Mike? I'm sorry.
I know how to define a woman. They should ask me when they did that show. A woman
You know
is
how
what
to- no,
a woman
no,
is what I hit on.
Somebody called Matt Walsh.
You
Oh, Matt
know
Walsh.
how. Wait a minute. You know how to defile a woman. That's a different thing.
Hey, don't talk that way. Are you kidding? If I had a Yelp page, I'd get very high reviews because I treat women well.
Hey, Tina's here too. I didn't see you here,
off.
Tina.
Hey, Tina.
There we go.
Buying them.
So we got a few
couple
women.
Of, couple of tacos at Taco Bell
Ladies?
isn't treating
We're
them
getting
well.
up there. We're getting up
You hear
there.
what Brian's about to say? He's about to get racial. Say your racist joke again. Go ahead. Finish it.
Oh,
Buying them a couple of tacos at Taco Bell is not treating them well
wow, that's racist.
because you shouldn't take them to Taco Bell.
That's racist.
Insulting. Daramuth says Andor sounds like a hemorrhoid cream.
I'm not saying I haven't done it, Brian.
God,
Do you have hemorrhoids? Do they bother you? Are they itching? Get Andor, and you will not have itching anymore.
There's
Andor
Gwen Stacy.
burning.
Andor sucks.
There's Gwen
Wait, let me
Stacy.
do a
Is she
retake
a
on
woman?
that.
Go, Tom. Sorry, you're killing me.
Thumbs
All
up
right,
for
do that
Andor.
again.
Thumbs up for Andor.
Oh. Well, up the ass?
Yeah.
All right, Tom. Shoot.
In all fairness, I didn't hate Andor, but if you have hemorrhoids and you want to get rid of that bit, God damn it, take 7.
See, there's Gwen Stacy.
This is why I don't
Gray.
record
Yeah.
shit, because I fuck up everything. Although I am supposed to be recording a voice for a cartoon upcoming.
Oh, cool.
I got to come up with a voice though, so I'm gonna let you guys pick a voice. I'm gonna come up with like 3 of them. It's supposed to be like a military,
Foghorn Leghorn.
military guy. I say,
There you
son.
go. That's the one.
Or to do like Arlie Emery. What the fuck is your malfunction?
How's your malfunction?
Or you want like an older, gruffer one, or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
Or let's see, I can also do something like let's see here. We could do them like a more energetic, but I'm gonna chew you out, like, you know, or even more like a Sergeant Slaughter. I could do something like that, maybe.
Mm.
Anyway, Miss Chin Chin Trunks, who usually only shows up on Toxic Femininity, decided to send in a toonie and says, "I'm half a woman, but I need time to prep." This is true. Magitech Mag says, "We're getting up there, Tom." Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
That's the Andor. It helps.
Okay, let me do this again. Do you have hemorrhoids? Does that itching and burning get to you all the time? Well, take Andor, and it will take care of that itching and or burning.
No, you need to do it as
Andor, available at
Wilford.
Walgreens and Costco.
You need to do it as Wilford Brimley.
Hello, I'm Wilford Brimley. I have diabetes.
Wow.
I have diabetes, and I use Andor for my beatus.
Now, because of my diabetes, I get hemorrhoids. And when I get hemorrhoids, I get itching and or burning. And for that, I get Andor. It takes care of both. Just not your diabetes.
Mm.
I'm dead. Clay Thomason says, "Tom, your dog is barking at a Terminator run."
my
Probably is. So like, Thomas Connor. It's Connors. Shoot first, ask questions later. Oh, wrong guy. Sorry. Sorry, my bad. Didn't mean to kill the wrong guy. Better safe than sorry, as I say, though. So with that, though, I think we're going to start wrapping this up, even though Mike just got here, which sucks, because I love when Mike's here and we get to play. But I got to finish watching Dirty Harry, Mike.
Yeah.
You know what I realized? Is that movie is not as racist as everybody says it is. It's even woke,
Yeah.
you know, in the
Yeah, it's
in the
not-
current standards.
Yep.
It actually was well, there's a lot of things like that. There's a lot of movies that came out in various times in the 70s and 80s that people rewatch. And what they've done now, what's interesting to me now as a grown up, I look back, there's all these clips that are taken out of context. If you actually sat down and watched the whole movie, you'd have a very interesting experience, especially comparing where the world was then to where the world is now.
Absolutely. And I'm so sorry, Mags. We did accidentally miss this one. It says, does this mean we're your pimps now, gang?
Max, you can pimp me out to yourself.
Would totally pimp himself out.
Yeah, if it's Max can pimp me out. Max can say, Mike, what? Max can go like, hey, Mike. I'd be like, yes, Max. Mike, can you come over here? I want to pimp you out. Okay, where do I go? Just this way. Okay, I'm on the way. Like Matt, I would pay myself to give the money to Max to pimp me to Max.
That's not how it works, though. That's not how the force works.
That's how I want it to work if it involves Mags.
Well, that's neither here nor there, but I'm so sorry, Mags. I did not mean to miss one of your super chats. I feel bad now. Daramuth says, Andor, when the burn comes, you wish you had it. Yes. That's right. And thank you, 70s, for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate that, buddy. So that's 10 memberships altogether that have been gifted today. Thank you so much, guys.
Use them wisely.
Oh, there's a novelization of Magnum Force. I wonder how different it is. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those little Dirty Harry books.
I love the novelizations, and they don't really do them like they used to, man.
No, they don't do any. They probably don't do any novelizations. You were talking the other day about how they don't really do a lot of. They don't do comic book adaptations at all anymore. I don't see many novelizations either.
Yeah, the only comic book stuff they'll do is tie-in stuff. Sorry, go ahead, Bert.
I was going to say, let's face it. How would you go about novelizing, let's say, Star Trek Discovery, for instance? I mean,
what's sad is there is books for Discovery. Yeah,
they are.
I know, but
Not
I mean,
novelizations,
just
yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
It's gotta
no,
have
but here's
something-
how hilarious is Spaceballs got a novelization back in the day.
Yeah, every book, every movie got it.
Yeah,
Almost every movie.
Even
and it's actually a pretty.
silent movies had them.
I think it did. Yeah,
Silent movie.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. It was just. I guess it started somewhere in the 60s or in the 70s and went throughout maybe a little bit.
They had fun with them though, man. I mean, I remember some great ones. Like, not only would you get kind of an idea of sometimes what an earlier draft of the movie was like, maybe some more insight on the characters that didn't get in the film, some deleted scenes, all that business. But there's the other side of it too. There's books where they actually like play into things. Like New Nightmare was when I remember them doing some fun stuff with. When Gremlins 2 came out, when the movie breaks in the theater, there's an actual different part in the book.
Yes.
Which was cool because I didn't expect that in the theater. I just didn't get it in the book. The book, I was just like playing along with the book because I read the novel before I seen the movie in the theater. So then when I seen the movie in the theater, I thought the movie was actually burning and breaking. And the whole audience goes, oh, man, just before Gremlin comes up on screen, you know?
Right.
Because nobody knew, and I didn't even know. So they did a good enough job with that to kind of tie into that. And like New Nightmare, the cool thing is like in between chapters, the novelist would like be like, I just found this article. This is real. Oh my God, this is real. This is real. I've been getting phone calls and weird. And then all of a sudden, like damn near the end, the editor comes in and says that the author is missing. So he had to finish off the book. And it's like, it's hilarious how they play into the whole idea of Freddy being in the real world. And, you know, you used to get cool stuff like that in the novelizations. They just don't have that anymore, it feels like.
Yeah, they used to be done from earlier drafts of scripts and things like that, you know.
Right.
You know.
Or they would give them carte blanche because they had to fill in stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
On the rare occasions, right? So, like, I believe, what's his face? We interviewed, Jesus Christ, I just forgot his name. Alan Dean Foster.
Alan Dean Foster. Oh,
where he talked about, you know, in Alien, he was given a lot of carte blanche because at that point he had no fucking clue what the alien was going to look like, really.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the original Star Trek adaptations by James Blish. I mean, the novelizations of the episodes were done from very early draft scripts, and they're very different in the old James Blish adaptation of episodes. That was not uncommon.
We have a problem.
Houston?
Spaceballs.
Uh-oh.
There you go. The book.
Good job, Mike. What'd you do now or not do now? That's the thing with 6. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. In case people were thinking I was crazy, no, they got Spaceballs the book.
Usually these books will come out a couple of weeks before the movies.
Yes. Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah, because like I actually got to read Gremlins too, and like, well, of course, where I lived, we had like what was called a second run theater a lot of the time. So
Right.
we never got first run movies. We always get them in the 3-4
really?
months after. So like I was always stuck with the comic adaptation of the book for months until the movie would come out. So that was kind of my,
Dang.
My video for the longest time before video would come out. So yeah. But yeah, was there anything anybody wanted to touch on before we do take off here? We got a couple more super chats, and then we got to get ready for Nick's show here in about
let's
40
roll
minutes.
so you can go see that. Go finish up Dirty
I
Harry.
gotta finish up Dirty Harry. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yes. I guess we have all said what we wanted to say
we're good.
tonight.
We're unbreaded.
Yeah.
We've all got to go clean our magnums.
Magitech,
go clean
Mags.
get your Magnum clean.
I clean my
Speaking of
Magnum every
Mags.
morning when I take a shower.
There you go, Mags. You can change your name to
realize-
Magitech Magnum. There you go.
Magnum was a market.
Magic
It's a
Magnum.
marketing device. It isn't really as big as people think, Mike.
All right, Tom, I want to hear Tom yell this out because I don't think I've ever heard Tom yell.
Well, I was
this
gonna
out.
let you do it, but if you want
Okay,
me to,
fine. Magic Tech Mags for $2 says huge. Just wanted to yell that out. Thank you, Max, for the $2.
It's a
for
huge
Midnight
deal.
Edge
It's
After
huge.
Dark.
That's right.
Huge.
And Mr. Tickle Trunk also brings up "Don't miss Nick's huge stream." It's huge. It's bigger than most streams. It's a beautiful stream.
It's great because I said it is.
It's a great stream.
Just don't look at it. Don't even look at it.
Never be played. Whoa, you hear that sustain? Well, no, I don't. Well, you would if it was
one
plugged
super
in.
chat. You missed
Did we miss
one
another
from
one? Holy crap!
Duramal from Duramal.
This is what happens when-
This is what happens when I'm late and
and
6 isn't here. This is what
Oh,
happens.
I did miss this one. Yeah, I was just gonna say when Mike's late and 6 isn't here.
This is why I
Um,
hate not being on the shows with you. I hate it when we miss stuff from people. I hate
We
it.
miss and love 6, but she had to work tonight, guys. So
And
give
she
6
can't
some
do it
love.
all. She's working double time.
Yes, yeah. So give 6 some love in
We
the
love
chat because she
6.
is listening.
Right now.
Daramoose,
Six, I promise to make it up to you after October.
you're gonna get in fucking trouble again. Knock it off. Or maybe not. Maybe that's what she wants, so she won't report you. I don't know. I'm confused. Do it, but don't do it so hard.
That's what they say.
Just rub it a little bit.
Oh.
You got to
Wow,
work
this
it.
is gonna be a
Work
special
it,
night, I
Mike,
can
before
tell.
you know. Okay, I'm making this worse.
Dermo with the $2 super chat says, Andor, good for those nights at Taco Bell. Giggity.
I have a sound for that. There you go. And yeah. There's one for Mikey. So yeah, let's wrap this up here since we've got Nick's show here in a little bit. Clobby, let's start with you. Anything you got to plug real quick?
Oh, well, I believe Loki and I and 24 and I will have the comic roundtable tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Loki's channel, and then after that, I'll do my Wild Card Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, and of course, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Raquel and Mark and I with the Clubhouse number 50, and then Saturday night Star Trek, of course. Same time, same Trek time, same Clobby channel. And thanks for having me here, buddy.
Yeah.
Great to see you all there in the chat.
Yeah, and your link should be in the description, and I'm sure the mods in
Thank
the
you,
chat
bud.
are sharing it out. And as Mr.
Thank
Tickle
you,
Trunk is
man.
sharing out Nick's stream link here for 40 minutes from now, and also I have it set up to where everybody should automatically go over to his stream from here, so you can park up and be ready to
nice.
go. So there you go. So hopefully we have just as many show up as last week. Be sure to shout out Mead when you get there, so we know you got there.
Yes.
And thank you for that, Mr. Tickle Trunk, and thank you, Clobby, for being here tonight as well. And Nick, anything
pleasure.
besides Toxic Tuesday to plug besides that?
Absolutely. My ISOM #1 comes in tomorrow, so that means there will be a review this week, and of course, we'll have the comic shop talk as well. Friday nights. Me and Ironcast will be talking about that. That'll be fun. And of course, you can find me here on Midnight's Edge After Dark, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and of course, on Angelina Parker's The Comics Division, the Dix Boys. Chat, you've been great. Mods, you've been great. Thank you guys for super chats. Our Tom Connors does appreciate it. Mike appreciates the Speedos.
The hamsters appreciate it.
And it's good hanging. It was a really good stream time. It really was. And thank you for having me, Tom. I'm ready to go load up some Magnums.
There you go. The rabbit chickens. Also, we got to feed the rabbit chickens, right, Mike?
Yep, the fuckers aren't going to feed themselves.
We don't know how they eat, but they eat like crazy. They're like fucking those little fuckers on Star Trek.
Gambino got in a fight with some wasps that's got in the house today.
Oh no, is he okay?
Oh yeah, he's fine. The little dude, he was a terror. He was trying to eat him like while they're
kick his
flying.
ass.
No,
that's my boy.
He chased him right out the back.
That's what I'm saying. That's my boy.
He literally chased them out the back. They were these they're real big and heavy, so they're kind of like more like flying, like a palmetto bug type of thing. He literally chased these 4 or 5 things. I left the back door open from cleaning the hurricane shit, and he literally ran them out the back. I was really proud of him. He like really stepped it up. I mean, of course, they're 2 inches long, and he weighs like 10 pounds, but still. Good job, Bambino. Good job. Yeah, gotta motivate.
Now we gotta tell, is Andy listening out there? And you hear that, Andy? Bambino's figure needs a cape now. He has taken on snakes, bees.
Yep. Wasps.
Yep. What else?
Pillows and bed coverings.
Rabid rabbit chickens.
Rabid rabbit chickens. That's true.
Yeah.
I can't believe you haven't seen this movie, Tom. I'm in shock.
The Shang-Chi. Oh, I've seen Dirty Harry. I just like to become refreshed. I started watching it earlier, and I got like the last half hour, 20 minutes left or whatever. Like they just it was just getting to the scene where the one dude from Hellraiser who plays the bad guy, I can't remember his name. Shit. Where he's getting his ass kicked by the one dude where he paid him. So we can say that Dirty Harry did it. That's how far I got. I'm like, shit, I got to get up here. We're going live. But 70s, I don't know if you're going to be joining us here in about 45 minutes. All right. Well, I got to let you go so you can get your dinner. Do you have any shows coming up, though, you want to plug before we head out?
Yeah, next Monday, my regular It's Only Talk and Roll will be about Hammer film productions. It'll be a Hammer horror special. It's October. So we'll be taking a good look at a lot of those great old Hammer movies. So it's 2 p.m. Pacific. Hammer time. 2 p.m. And the ladies of Hammer, of course, the girls of Hammer, who were so very important to those movies. It wasn't all blood. There was boobs too. So, so 2 p.m. Pacific next Monday. And if anyone's got a few minutes and they wish to check out one of my latest videos I just put up a few days ago, it's about an underlooked band that I love called the Blasters. So check that out, please. And thank you everybody for being here.
Formerly known as the Ass Blasters, I heard.
Yes, they're definitely doing the theme song for Andor. So. No, just the Blasters.
All right. So thank you for that, Brian. And everybody check out everybody's channel here on the show. Also, don't forget Culture Casino, who was here earlier. I know that's a rarity. Did you hear that, Mike? He was actually here.
Yeah, and then we're going to start doing a roulette wheel to see once I join the stream, how long Culture until he leaves.
Well, like I said, this time I actually had to give him the pass because he did say he was showing up earlier before you said you weren't going to be here, or at least
I love Culture. I love him so much. He's such a good fucking guy. I mean, he's just a good guy.
Indeed.
He's a good guy.
We love Culture as much shit as I give him.
He's so smart.
And we also love Six and all the other mods. I seen Tickle Trunk was here, Mags was here. I think Stephanie was here earlier as well. D-Bud was here. Yeah. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I believe I got everybody there. But thank you so much, guys, for being here. We appreciate it. Take care of yourselves and each other. And follow us on the... I guess it doesn't take you automatically. You actually have to click on the thing. But once the stream's done, a window will pop up for you. You click on that and that'll take you right over to Nick's stream. So there you go. Oh, and by the way, don't forget to get your hands on the Aliens expanded documentary. We're on the last couple days for it here. Go to our trailer on Midnight's Edge After Dark, follow that link, and that will also help us out at the same time. So don't forget that. So see you here in a little bit, guys, over on Nick's channel. Take care.